Hi, welcome everyone to the USD 230 Board of Education meeting for October 13th. Rachel, please take the roll.
Mrs. Horn,
Here.
Mr. Chitwood,
Here.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Here.
Mr. Ewing,
Here.
Mrs. Milius,
Here.
Mr. Hull,
Here.
Mrs. Baker.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Moving on to approval of the agenda.
Madam President, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Oh, go ahead. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Rachel, please take the vote.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
Mr. Hull,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
approved.
Wonderful. Would everyone please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on to the reading of the mission and vision statement. We read these at the beginning of each meeting to keep our mission and vision at the forefront of all our thoughts as we make decisions for our students. Our mission is to be a school district that engages students to learn, create, adapt, and succeed in an ever-changing world. And our vision is to maintain small town values and empower each student to achieve world-class success. Moving on to public participation.
No cards were presented.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on to the consent agenda, which includes approval of the consent agenda items, approval of the minutes, personnel, teacher requested supplement materials, renewal of Teach Town, Spring Hill High School early graduate requests, a renewal of Everway circular tools, and paper towel purchase.
Madam President, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented and read.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, Rachel, please take the vote.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
Mrs. Milius, Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
Mr. Hull,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
approved.
Thank you. All right, moving on to good news, recognitions, and announcements. Dr. Luttrell?
Yes, we have several items this evening, and Mr. Peavy, our Director of Communications, is going to begin that, and we'll get, like I said, as normal, we do have several this evening, and so like I said, if you would be recognized, then probably at the end, Mr. Peavy, we'll probably then do our photos at the very end, because we do want to make sure we get your smiling faces so we can put that all over our social media. So, Mr. Peavy, take it away.
Yes, thank you, and good evening, everybody. And like Dr. Luttrell said, we have 5 staff members that we get the privilege of recognizing tonight. We have one core value that we'll do first, and then we will recognize our Horizon Award recipients and our Teachers of the Year. And like Dr. Luttrell said, talk about each person, and then we'll do pictures at the very end so we don't have to move around so many times. So first, for the core value, I would like to bring up Wolf Creek Elementary Principal Beth Cooper to make the presentation.
Good evening. Tonight, I would like to honor Nurse Renee Arthur, in particular for the core value of creating a supportive environment at Wolf Creek. We feel incredibly lucky to have Renee on our team. Students and staff know that her office is a place where they can always find care and compassion. She works incredibly hard to know all of our students and their needs so she can provide the best possible medical care. She also is a resource for our staff. Every day, I see staff members in her office seeking advice, comfort, or both. When we have an urgent medical situation, Nurse Rini responds with the perfect balance of urgency and calm. This is critical because we have a team of staff who respond to medical emergencies, and she sets the tone for the entire team. She also trains this team so that they are ready when emergencies arise. This starts before school begins and takes planning, preparation, and monitoring all throughout the year. She does an amazing job, and we feel very safe in her hands. For that reason and more, I would like to recognize Rini Arthur for this Core Value Award.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Cooper. Now, next, we are going to recognize our District Horizon Award nominees. So if you two can take the place of honor right up here at the front. I know it's awkward. You guys stand up here as we say nice things about you. I think it's in the board policy somewhere.
Gotta stand in front of the class.
Exactly right. All right, so tonight we're proud to recognize 4 of our outstanding educators who represent the very best of Spring Hill schools, and they embody our theme of excellence every day in everything that they do. So first, for our Horizon Award from Dayton Creek Elementary, we have Cordelia Hanger. Her principal, Dr. Teresa Miller, shared that during her first year as a teacher, Cordelia has demonstrated growth and commitment across several key areas, successfully exceeding district standards for first-year teachers. Her lesson planning is thoughtful, balancing rigor and engagement. Cordelia is attentive to the behavioral and social-emotional learning needs of her students, fostering a positive and inclusive classroom environment where clear expectations and respectful interactions are the norm. She collaborates seamlessly with colleagues and families, contributes to our Leader in Me culture team, and coaches Girls on the Run. Cordelia's positive attitude, professional ethics, and eagerness to grow have made a meaningful impact within the Dayton Creek community. And then our second Horizon Award nominee is Rebecca Hertog from Spring Hill High School. Principal Kyle Koss wrote that Rebecca exemplifies excellence in education. Her deep content knowledge, masterful instructional practice, and unwavering commitment to student success makes her a true leader in the classroom and a deserving candidate for the Horizon Award. She is quickly establishing herself as a leader within the high school and has been an incredible addition to the building. So at this time, let's give a round of applause for our 2 Horizon Award.
Now, it's tradition that they have to sing their college song.
Again, I think it's board policy. I'm pretty sure that might get approved later in the meeting, but I feel like that's the case. All right, so I'm going to make you guys awkwardly stand up here even longer, if that's okay, because now our next 2 staff members are District Teachers of the Year. If you 2 could please step up to the front, we'll say nice things about you too. See, Mr. Bartley was trying to hang in the very back as long as possible. So as I said, we're also proud to celebrate tonight our 2025 Spring Hill Schools Teacher of the Year honorees. From Timber Sage Elementary, Avery Ozier. Principal Jody Moschler describes Avery as truly sunshine in our school. Her kindness, warmth, and ever-present smile brighten every room she enters. Avery creates a safe, inclusive, and joyful classroom where students feel valued, supported, and challenged. She builds deep connections with students and families through open communication, empathy, and care for both academic and social-emotional growth. A respected teammate and collaborator, Avery shares her expertise generously, encourages colleagues, and contributes to a positive school culture. Her dedication, creativity, and professionalism inspire students to love learning and believe in themselves. And I just have to add one thing for Avery too. One of the fun parts of my job is I do get all of the nomination statements as people in the community and in the schools put forth names for Horizon Award Teacher of the Year. And I'm pretty sure Avery shattered the record for the most nominating statements. We actually received 13 different statements from 13 different individuals nominating you for Teacher of the Year. So that's worth a round of applause for that many. And then finally, from Spring Hill High School, our secondary Teacher of the Year, Tristan Bartley. Principal Kyle Koss shared that Mr. Bartley's unmatched dedication, innovative teaching, and unwavering belief in every student's potential make him an ideal candidate for our district's highest teaching distinction. Tristan inspires students through deep musical expertise, innovative instruction, and a relentless commitment to excellence. He has built a thriving, disciplined, and supportive band program through vision, creativity, and problem solving. Tristan models professionalism in every interaction, earning admiration from both students and colleagues, and consistently delivers performances of the highest quality, showcasing student talent and elevating the program's reputation. So together, Cordelia, Rebecca, Avery, and Tristan exemplify the spirit of excellence every day, and we're all very proud of their efforts and accomplishments. Each will be participating in the statewide competition to determine the State Horizon Award recipients, as well as the 2027 Kansas Teacher of the Year. So let's give these four one more round of applause. Congratulations again. Time for a few pictures real quick.
Well, I want to say a couple, well, one thing particularly, first of all, thank you. Thank you for choosing Spring Hill and thank you for coming every day and being there for our students. And I will take a quote from Mr. Bartley, attitude reflect leadership. And I think that that really shows with you guys. So thank you.
Picture time. You guys are upset. Why don't we do the Horizon Award first? If you have to stand the longest.
One at a time or both?
We can do both unless you're wanting to print out put it on your fridge.
Yeah, how do they order 8x10 blocks?
I say, I think our cardboard cutout, I think is what. If you guys let's do that, please. Try that. Yeah, I'll try to set on the right way. 50% success rate. Thank you guys. Teacher of the Year next time.
Come on over there. I do read it enough for that.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, last one. I say get a whole three pictures. Three family pictures. Right. Yeah. Oh, perfect. Like my kids have to take like 15. I had a pretty smile. I won't say the silly thing. I tell my kids. Okay.
Oh, yes. Well, congratulations. I love honoring all of our people. Okay, well, let's move on to our discussion items, 8.01, the bond update. Mr. Williams.
There we go. That's a tough one to follow. Sorry. So this evening, we'll be giving you an update. We are going to be, the presentation starting next month, they're going to be looking a little bit different because we'll actually probably start construction in November on the elementary projects. We'll have a little bit more information to share with you, a little bit more detailed budgeting, everything else with that. So we're going to recap where we're at. Currently process. I do have Robin from DLR and Spencer and Ben from Newkirk Novak here to also answer any questions, explain a few things that we've been working on so far with the project. So, sorry. Right now, this is still the total bond budget scope. The elementary edition, we should have a solid number presented to you at the end of, at our October 27th meeting. We'll be talking about bids here shortly, coming up with that. We've had some high school CTE commons and CTE kickoff meetings. I'll give a recap with you later on in the presentation to show you where we're at with the progress with that. We do have an estimate on the roofs for Spring Hill Elementary School and Spring Hill Middle School. Kylie and I have been working with Garland Roofing on this one. This will be a 3-layered roof that goes on these, a complete roof replacement, 3 layers. It is insurance approved, which is good, and it's a 30-year warranty on the roof. And so that is where we're looking at when it comes to Garland and their estimate on what is going to replace the 2 roofs when it comes to Spring Hill Elementary School and Spring Hill Middle School. We do have an estimate on HVAC, and this is for Spring Hill Elementary School, Spring Hill Middle School, and the Early Learning Academy with that. You could tell our bond budget was 12 million. You could tell that the current estimate is 12.4, so it's a little bit over our bond budget with that. It has gone down considerably from our first quote, which I was a little high with that one. But I'm going to have Spencer from Newkirk Novak talk to you a little about our HVAC process and where we're at and how we got to that 12.4 when it came to the estimate.
Yeah, so we started kind of looking at different systems, July, August. The first estimate that we did was a little bit over budget. So kind of went back to the drawing board with DLR team, BCS, district staff. How do we come up with a system that fits within budget, but also provides a good system that'll last a long time for these schools, knowing the issues we have now? So what we decided upon was a VAV rooftop unit system, which is similar to what you have in your new elementary schools and is also what we're doing on the additions. So we had multiple design meetings with DLR, with team to kind of look at existing drawings, how we can make this new system work. We brought in a HVAC subcontractor to help with budgeting and also confirm that this new system would work. We walked all 3 schools, looked above ceiling, just confirmed before we kind of got into the estimate and design process. So as you can see, we are tracking a little bit over budget right now, but with where this estimate was at a conceptual level, we had some pretty healthy contingencies in there for things like ceiling replacement, new structural steel for new rooftop units. So we feel really good given where we're at. We also with the current estimated savings on the elementaries and the rooftop and the roofs, we've got some pickup there from a dollar standpoint. So, like I said, we feel really good with where we're at with the budget. I think the team put in a lot of hard work to find a system that would be within budget, but also have a long-lasting system for these 2 schools. So, as we get through design and move forward through design, we'll refine that number and keep working on that number and have further updates for you.
So I have a question there. So, bringing that number down, have we had to change scope at all in terms of the solution?
No, so that is the estimate right now for the VAV rooftop unit system. So we haven't had to change scope from a design standpoint. It's more of refining that number as we get through design, because what we were going off of was a high level narrative.
What we did, I'm just going to add to it because originally we did price a system that had more rooftop units. Now we have combined them. So one unit serves 4 or 5 classrooms, yep, a pod, which is a more efficient system. So it's a little different than what we priced the first time. So scope's a little bit different from that standpoint, but again, super high quality system that we're looking at now.
Yeah, and kind of where I'm going with that, part of the goal of this is making sure we have parity of capabilities to our new buildings and bringing that into our old. And so that's kind of where that question's emanating from, is making sure functionally it's
and
the parity that
this does match what you've got in your newer schools.
Yeah.
Exactly. So same type of system, one unit serving multiple classrooms. So I think you're getting that with this option.
Is this adding more RTUs than what are existing though? For coverage?
No, right now you've got, what is it? It's a
It's a VRF system.
Right.
completely different system.
Yeah.
It's been pretty problematic for you. So, yes, kind of apples and oranges, compared to the existing system, which is part of the
Right.
reason for changing.
So existing now, we're using all ground units and you're switching to RTUs for the cooling? Is that
Yeah.
accurate? Okay.
Yeah, but it'll basically, you'll have rooftop units that'll be for a pod, and then we'll be replacing the VRF boxes that kind of serve each classroom, and that'll transfer to more of it'll be a VAV box that'll replace those.
Okay, and in that, I know part of our intent was keeping some of the units that we had. So is this
Yep, so some
still?
of so like at the middle school and the elementary school, the units that serve the bigger spaces like the library, gym, those spaces will remain in place. These are more for classroom spaces.
Okay.
And the timeline still for the HVAC and the roofs is this upcoming summer. So the summer of 26. Even talking with Garland Roofing and HVAC company, they feel like they can coincide together at both schools at the same time to get them done and make sure we're ready to go for that. We are waiting for a few more specs from DLR when it comes to the HVAC units, and then we'll get that sent out to bid so we can get more of an exact price on everything. But budgeting right now, we're expecting 12.4 when it comes to HVAC units. I'm having a terrible time running this. So this is the total bond schedule. So I just want to go over some of the upcoming dates that we have. Tomorrow is a big day for us at 2:00 here in the boardroom. Anybody's welcome. It will be the bid opening for our 3 elementary additions. So we will go over that. Newkirk Novak will then review the bids and then present their recommendations to us as a district. We'll have some days to review it ourselves. And then myself and Spencer will be coming back to the board on October 27th with our recommendations for the elementary projects. We will need to stay on track. We'll need an approval from the school board at that time on the 27th. But I'm going to let Spencer come back up and talk about the bid process and what to expect tomorrow and how it's going and everything else.
So you can see some of the dates that we have down there. We sent this out to bid September 16th. We had a pre-bid the 25th here. We had a really good turnout with subcontractors. We had a subcontractor networking event with Sharon and Chamber of Commerce that went really well. So we've done a really good job recruiting bidders. So we're excited for tomorrow to get this thing bid out and have good results. Kind of what Mark said, the next couple days this week, we'll be scoping out subs, making sure everything's covered, and then we'll have the board packet ready to go to be submitted for approval on the 27th meeting.
And kind of with that, Mark, we'll have the information that Wednesday before at least.
Oh, yeah, it'll be ready to go like the timeline before for board packet review and everything else like that. Yes. And honestly, I'll probably be reaching out to a couple of board members to come join us when we review them, just to make sure we're all on the same page with everything before we go to the board on the 27th. And then that takes place, well, we're hoping, talking to Spencer, we'll get more detailed budgeting when it comes to the 3 elementary additions at the end of this month. So then Nathan and I will be able to present a more detailed budget when it comes to the projects starting in our November system there. The next one is still just the overall timeline with everything. This could change, or this will probably be more detailed once we get into the project. So we will have a more refined timeline to give to the board when we get everything taken care of with that. The next is our elementary additions, just for review. Right now, Kylie and I have been going to the elementary schools. We were going to do an evening presentation, and finally the wise Tammy Endicott gave me a call and said, you're not going to get parents at the evening presentation about the bond, but if you come to the book fair, you will get parents. So we sat at a table at the book fair. Shelley Huber's great advertising. She made everybody come see us first before they can go into the book fair. So we had that at Spring Hill Elementary last Monday. We were there from 4 to 6. We'll be at Prairie Creek Elementary School this Wednesday from 4 to 6, and then Timber Sage this Thursday from 4 to 6. We have a picture of the diagram at each of the schools there, and then we also have the logistic maps out there answering questions that they might have with everything. Right now, it's more of a sense of excitement than it is any questions when it comes to the bond right now on things getting ready to take place with that. I do want to go over real fast here in the Spring Hill Elementary Classroom Edition. When we look at that, there are some existing exterior walls. Those will not be torn down. They will be built. What's the correct term? What can I use? They'll still be in existence,
Yeah,
but
the addition butts up to the exterior walls.
okay, so thank you. So the addition will butt up to the exterior walls. We also do have a classroom of concern being right there next to the construction. Spencer and I have been talking to Tammy, coming up with an idea of maybe possibly relocating the RISE classroom so the construction noise doesn't disturb that classroom that much. We will have forth a plan or recommendation when I come talk to you on the 27th, what we plan on doing to assist with those. So we'll come up with some ideas with that.
I have one comment there. I just want
Yeah.
to make sure, and I'm sure you guys have talked about it, especially if Kylie's been involved, but those exterior walls have been retaining water, or leaking water, and we've put a couple like
You've been
paint
like a layer.
solutions on it to
Yep.
help make it, but I just want to make sure that's not going to cause any sort of mold later on or anything like that if we're not taking care of the problem.
Yeah, Kylie's been bringing that up, so I feel comfortable that we'll have an all right solution when it comes to that.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
yep. So there's the Timber Sage edition. Like I said, we will be there Thursday night. Kylie and I will be there. Prairie Creek will be there Wednesday night from 4 to 6, playing it outside the book fair. And this is the logistics maps taking place. We have been approved by the city of Spring Hill. We attended the planning commission meeting last week. Kylie and I did. He is at the city of Olathe Planning Commission right now representing our district to get everything finalized for the Timber Sage and the Prairie Creek editions with the logistics. Next is we have finally had a kickoff for the high school edition, the CT edition, and also the addition or the expansion of the Commons. You can see the scope of work. We're going to be doing the Commons and the CT interior remodel, some existing classrooms. The bond budget is 20 million for CTE. Commons is 5 million, so that equals 25 million. We're planning 5 million for soft costs, so 20 million will be construction costs when it comes to these two programs. To these two construction items at the high school. The Commons edition will be 5,000 square feet. The CT edition will be 30,000 square feet with the usable square footage of 21,200. So that'll be the actual, like the classrooms, the space that comes up with the classrooms and everything else with that. Remodel some of the existing classrooms there. DLR is also look at our internal traffic flow at our meeting at the high school that we had a couple of weeks ago. We actually got to go out into the hallways during passing period and see the congestion points. So we know that the placement of the CT edition of the high school is pretty important to also not only provide the academic programs we're wanting for these kids, but also possibly help with some of the traffic flow issues that we have for the high school students in the hallways, and then also help us for future growth, hopefully with more CTE programs and keep on adding to the addition. So right now I have Robin here from DLR, and she can highlight anything I didn't cover on the CTE and answer any questions you might have on the elementary additions or the high school scope here. And we'll move on to the next subject then.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight that we've had two really great meetings with staff at the high school, administration staff, So we walked the high school and we've seen some of your existing spaces. And so right now we're just working through a programming effort, trying to figure out what those new spaces are that are going to go out into the CTE edition, and then what we're going to do with some of those remodels in the existing spaces. So right now it's kind of a puzzle piece, trying to figure everything out, but it's fun. It's what we like to do. So it's where we are, very high level.
We are going to, DLR is going to arrange some tours, so we're going to see some existing CTE buildings around, so we could take a tour of that. I would like to thank Mr. Chitwood and Mr. Hall. They came to our very first kickoff meeting, and then Mr. Chitwood's attended our second meeting to help us out when we plan this out, moving forward. I know, looking at this, we hope to kind of have some more information provided to you guys in the November bond update to where we're at with this progress and everything else with that, so we can keep on working closely with DLR and Newkirk to keep this also on the timeline that we're hoping to exist with breaking the grounds here in the summertime and have all next school year for construction. That is our goal for the bond. Before I bring up the next subject, are there any questions with anything that we have when it comes to the bond and where we're at in our progress?
Mark, I just want to add for the benefit of my fellow board members, the initial meeting that I sat in on, it was really educational for me as being a neophyte to this whole process, right? And I know when we were doing the bond, 30,000 square feet, I had it in my mind that 30,000 square feet was going to be the usable space for all the programs and everything like that. But I quickly learned that also needs to include bathrooms, hallways, and by the time you subtract those out, that when you're talking 21,200, that's actually classroom space. So that was really educational for me. And then the other thing is I just want to give a shout out to the staff and the administration for the consideration that was given and the thought and the process now that is going into what makes the location of this critical to try and alleviate some bigger issues that we have today and issues that will only be compounded as we grow. And also take into account future growth of where we go potentially with additional CTE floor space. So John, I don't know if you had anything to add.
No,
I wasn't at that second meeting, so.
Well, it would, more kind of, as Robin says, reflective, looking at, what the goals are and where that's all going to fit. And they are puzzle pieces right now. And quite frankly, the answers aren't known yet, but they're being worked, which is perfect.
We're hoping, I'm putting a little pressure on Robin, that we can start seeing some of those puzzle pieces. And then at our next meeting, we can start figuring out what this kind of looks like. But they really needed to know what kind of program ideas we wanted out in the CTE. And that took us a couple meetings with that, because obviously some consist of larger spaces and some can consist in more of a normal size classroom when it takes place with that. So I think we gave them a bunch of information. And then hopefully we'll see what takes place at our meeting next week when we talk about that.
I have just a scheduling question.
Yep.
Is there a reason that we're waiting to start that Commons edition until we're tail end? I mean, that's kind of actually crucial with space right now. Is there a way to sneak that in at the start of doing the CTE building?
Well, I don't know. We could talk about that. I think we were planning on doing all construction at one time at the high school to do it through it. And I will give kudos to Principal Cost. He's much more of a puzzle thinker than Williams. He actually has every kid in the Commons now for lunch for today. It is tight, but he does have every kid in the Commons, so they're not in the upper gym with that. And so I don't know if you have any answers for that.
Yeah, our initial thought was when we bid this out, it'll be spring of next year. So our thought was to be less invasive to the school, it would be a summer project, was our initial thinking. So if we bid it out in the spring, late spring, early summer, it would be hard to do that over the summer, that first year. So that's why we had it slotted for the remaining summer to start that portion of the project.
But from a construction standpoint, you're breaking ground, moving dirt all at the same time.
It's kind of a lead time thing. So it takes time to get the parts and pieces you need to build that. So
how is that going to be a different structure than the CTE building?
Well, you have to to enclose this, we don't exactly know what it is yet, but just assuming it's similar construction to what you've got. You don't need the exterior skin and the structural steel till a little later on the CTE building. You would have to have it right away for that first summer. So we can look into it if that's an interest, but that's just where our logic was initially.
Any other questions on the bond before I go to our next subject when it relates to this?
No other questions? All right, are we moving on to the next agenda item?
No, we have contracts real fast.
Oh, yes.
Real fast, just for some clarification on there, you have 5 contracts attached on this. One for each elementary edition, one for the HVAC, for the Spring Hill Elementary School, Spring Hill Middle School, and the other one's for the high school edition. Been visiting with Ms. Milius about this, been talking to Robin with DLR about these contracts. So these are specific contracts per each job, which is stated in the overall contract that you guys agreed to with DLR with that. Robin has been asking around DLR, and there's been a few modifications. So the contracts that you have are not accurate right now on the screen. So I will have to get you some updated contracts first thing in the morning. They are actually based off of the construction cost estimates. And we have some lower construction cost estimates on the 3 elementary projects and then also for the HVAC with that. So that will give the correct percentage. The percentage is correct. It'll give you the correct amount on those contracts when I have those for those. So thank you for Robin for double checking all that and making sure everything is accurate, that we are correct in where we're at. So I apologize. I do have those contracts sent to me at the late this afternoon, but I will get those to you guys tomorrow. I just wanted to clarify where we're at with everything. But those contracts are each specific for each edition or each elementary school, and then the HVAC, and then the high school edition, and they are the percentage for the work that DLR does, and it's based off of the construction cost estimates. I don't know, Robin, if you have anything you need me to add or anything. So I will email those to Rachel and notify Ms. Milius that we have the correct ones, and I'll be glad to talk to them, present them on the 27th if you'd like for me to present them on the 27th to make sure we're good to go for those. So.
Is this is something we've already approved or?
Well, I mean, it's based off the contract that's approved, but this is them asking to get paid, totally understandably so. But it's kind of what number is it based off of? Is it based off actual cost, or can these be done as not to exceeds?
No, our contract is based on the construction cost. And I apologize because I had the wrong construction costs for the elementary schools. So we clarified that. We're all on the same page now. So
so these are going to be based off the construction cost we approve.
Estimated.
it's the estimate.
The estimated.
Mhm.
So we can just approve those all as one big package is what I think I'm hearing.
Yes, correct.
And the numbers you presented are high.
The numbers that you, except for the high school commons and the CT edition, the construction cost estimates is the 20 million, or not, sorry, the 20 million. So it is based off of that.
Okay.
The elementary editions and the HVAC that you have right in front of you are high. So the new contracts will have a lower cost to them, if that makes sense. So I apologize. I wanted to clarify that, just not spur that on you guys this evening. So we'll make sure you guys get the accurate contracts into you guys.
Okay,
Okay?
awesome. Any other questions for Mr. Williams or our DLR and Newkirk friends? Okay, well, thank you guys. Thank you for coming tonight. Okay, moving on to 8.02, the enterprise lease update.
It's me again. So have the opportunity to have Regina here this evening. Regina works for Enterprise, and she works closely with our district. And she met with Kylie and myself and Mr. Holder last week, going over our fleet that we currently have that we get through Enterprise. And that is actually the sheet that is pulled up right there, our fleet profile. We have 35 vehicles through enterprise. You can see the years that they are, that we have 24 of them are in the 2022 year. 2023, we have 6, 2024, we have 1, and 2025, we have 3. That lone 2017 one is a Chevy Traverse, and that is kept at the high school for our kids to practice oil changes on and tire replacements on. So that is the 2017 vehicle that we have right now at that one. But going over this, you can see what we have. We have some trucks, we have some Traverses, we have some Expeditions with everything. And then I'm going to turn this over to Gina and let her go over her numbers with here that she went over. And this is kind of small, I apologize. And then go over this and with her recommendations with everything.
I'll do my best to describe. So if you can't see the numbers, you can still follow along. Thanks for having me. I'm Gina Lindell, Senior Client Strategy Manager with Enterprise. So my role is to help the operations team and transportation team evaluate vehicle choices, how long to keep those vehicles, and then we also purchase and sell on behalf of the school district. I'm a mom, a proud Spring Hill Middle School mom as well. So appreciate the time today. Part of my role is to identify vehicles that present financial opportunities for replacement. And the operations team does a really, really nice job of keeping vehicles in a rotation to make sure that they're safe and reliable and all of the things that we want for the kids that are riding in these cars. There's an opportunity, and I presented a couple of plans. Plan A is a replacement of 6 vehicles. Those are all primarily trucks. And Plan B is a mix of trucks and a handful of smaller mid-size SUVs. Why I recommended this particular plan. Plan B is the most financially advantageous and offers the most savings of just under about $60,000. And how we figure that is we're capitalizing on some market conditions right now from a purchasing standpoint. We expect that the tariffs will start to hit the vehicle market more heavily after the first of the year than they have so far. Many of the manufacturers have absorbed most of those increased costs, and we fully anticipate, and it's being reported in Cox Automotive and many other reliable sources, that the manufacturers will have no choice but to go ahead and start passing those on to the consumer. So we'll take advantage of the purchasing conditions that make it the right time for this particular cycle. We'll also lower your operational expenses with your fuel and maintenance. Many of the vehicles that I'm recommending for replacement will be past their 3-year bumper to bumper warranty. So there'll be some more exposure for maintenance expenses. And then many of these vehicles are a little bit more fuel efficient than the ones that you already have. So there'll be some fuel savings as well. And also the largest piece that you see, the red numbers are good. Oftentimes you see financial presentations where red numbers are bad. But the red numbers here, equity from sold vehicles, is what makes Plan B really the choice that I would recommend here. Because we will be giving the district back $105,000 from the sale of the current 9 vehicles that I'm recommending replacement for. So ultimately, it's really, you're buying at the right time, you're holding it for the right time, and you're capitalizing on a really, really strong resale market that's propped up by some price fatigue with retail consumers in the new car market. These vehicles, they're taken really well taken care of by your operations staff. So they are highly, highly desirable. And that garners excellent resale, which helps us close that total cost of ownership to operate these vehicles. It also offers us a chance to break up. Mark pointed out that there were, I think it was 22 vehicles in the 2022 model year. And when those all come up at the same time for replacement, it's a big undertaking for your operations team to process all of the 22 vehicles coming in and then the 22 vehicles coming out. So we're also able to kind of separate that and better bucket those to make it more manageable for your operations team. That's really kind of the summary of all of the numbers on this page, but ultimately replacing the vehicles actually has a positive impact on your budget. It's a right time type of recommendation. It's the right time to buy those vehicles, and it's also a great time and the right time to sell the old ones. Any questions?
Could you just kind of refresh my memory a little bit of how long we've been doing this lease? Because before we were purchasing the vehicles, and this really was a huge cost savings when we started doing this.
Yeah.
So how long has it been?
It's been just about 5 years. We're going through, this would probably be our third, if not our fourth cycle. When we first started, our cycles were much shorter because pre-COVID, things were a lot different. Incentives were a lot higher than post-COVID incentives. So we've really been watching and monitoring when some of those things would start to come back and allow us the chance to make financial sense for you to go ahead and start replacing some vehicles again. And we've just hit that point on about 9 vehicles. I think there'll be another group next year, different vehicle types, different numbers, of course, and we would certainly go through that at that point in time. But it's been about 5 years and
Okay.
at least 3, if not 4 cycles.
Thank you.
Could you explain the equipment transfer cost? You
Yes.
got 6 and 9 vehicles, but the transfer cost is equal,
Yeah.
so.
That's a great question. The transfer cost only applies to the F-250 trucks that have some light equipment that will be moved from one truck to the other. We'll be transferring that equipment instead of buying new equipment, as that equipment investment doesn't have a good return on the resale side of things. So it's better for you to keep it and move it
Sure.
than purchase new.
That makes sense.
It applies to the trucks, not the SUVs, though. Good question.
Yeah. And then the other thing, and I just recently bought a new vehicle, so so don't take this personally.
Yeah, no
All
problem.
right. But I feel like what we're being presented here is if you spend $300 with me, you're going to save $30, right? Because I look at the annual lease payments, and for option A, it goes up roughly 25,000, and for option B, it goes up 30,000 on an annual lease cost basis, right? And so I'm trying to understand. I mean, I know we get some money back on the trade-ins. Are you basically applying that, or I guess if I look at the 105 that we're going to make, that we're going to recover, right? We're going to recover on the sale of those vehicles. So that works out to be like $8,700 for the year. No, I'm sorry. I'm doing my math wrong. Yeah, no, it applies. I did use my phone, $8,700 off of the 30,000. So we're paying, what I'm trying to get to here is how do we impact our annual cost, right? So that it actually is a better deal for us. I'm understanding that some of that has to do with warranty, right? We're re-upping warranty. We're recovering some operational costs. That's a little fluid as it relates to gas mileage and performance and things like that. But I guess I'm just having a hard time. I'm kind of stuck on the annual lease going up $30,000 a year, and you're telling us that Plan B is good.
Fair observation. Much of what makes this plan successful is that return of the 105 back to you in equity. You will see an increase of costs no matter what you do from this point forward, because vehicles continue to get more expensive. So we're going ahead and pulling a few of those forward now, pre-tariff, to avoid some of that cost even being higher out in the future. So fair observation. And I totally understand where you're coming from, but delaying that potential purchase could only make it more expensive down the road.
I'm good. I made sense in my own mind.
Okay.
They call me Rain Man for a reason, and I have to come to my
You
own.
just have to say it out loud and then.
No, yeah. I get it.
Doug, I just wanted to make one other comment. Before, when we owned the vehicles, there's no, like, districts don't pay the property tax and stuff on them. So we owned vehicles that were like super old. But what they found the first year they did this is, I think Doug Schwinn was actually really surprised. They saved so much in maintenance by driving newer vehicles, and then with those the warranty. Because some of these old vehicles, they were spending so much getting them fixed and maintained, and then time off and all that.
Well, the way I made sense to myself here, Sharon, is the 307, you got to subtract the 105. And so you're at 202. And so never mind. I take it all back. I'm sorry for wasting everybody's time.
That's okay. There's a lot of information on this page, and this is what I do every day. So ultimately, I think it's a win-win. It allows you to continue to, keep your costs low, especially with maintenance. I know the savings was huge when we first started. You're going from newish vehicles to new vehicles. So we're certainly, the gap is smaller with the savings and operational expenses, but certainly the secret sauce here, if there is one, is buying that vehicle at the right time and selling it at the right time. Those are your two biggest impact areas.
And so how often do we do this? How often do we actually take a look at this and make a move like this?
I'll be honest with you, and I was going to give kudos to Regina. I met her for the first time in June when she met down and talked to us about our fleet. And at that time, she recommended we don't make any changes and we keep exactly what they have.
Okay.
But then she reevaluated, called another meeting with us here in October and made her recommendation because
Okay.
of what's coming down the pike. So she's doing a very good job staying in constant contact with us, evaluating her fleet and see what's going to be best for us financially.
Sure. Okay, yeah, because I realize there's a lot of moving parts here. And so I'm looking at that 105, right? And realistically, this makes sense then for us for roughly 28 to 36 months, right? At which point then that's when that $30,000 increase in annual leases would be.
But there'll be another group of vehicles at that point in time.
Yeah, okay.
Behind it that will also give the district back an equity injection as well. So this is really fluid. And part of the reason I have at least 3 meetings a year with my clients to talk about this and review this because it's so dependent on market conditions that change. So the last time we got together, I said, let's hold tight. I'm not ready to make a recommendation yet. I don't have all the information from the manufacturers, and tariffs were still completely unclear as to whether they would even happen at all. So this is something we certainly keep an eye on and evaluate at least 3 times a year.
I have a question on the mileage on the last known odometer. How confident are we on the accuracy of those?
It's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Pretty accurate. Okay, great. There's no right or wrong answer. That's a great answer.
There were 1 or 2 vehicles that I had older dated mileage on. The rest I got before this meeting happened.
Yeah, because my general comment is, actually not for you, it's for them, which is, kind of balancing out the mileage. We've got some 22s with significantly less miles on them than others. And I know that's a sticky wicket, but, just in terms of ensuring our highest resale value, having,
Spread out the love.
spread out the love,
Yeah.
That's kind of my comment because, I have a feeling, this is my personal feeling, that the leasing and then really, in doing this, it's been good, but all things must come to an end. Leasing at some point won't make sense to us. And, having the best value that we possibly have, even though I do agree, I think vehicle prices are going to keep going up and we do have some savings, but as we mature, we may actually own something one day.
Yeah.
Or we'll have to buy the lease out and just keep the vehicle.
We do. We have a Chevy Traverse.
Yeah, 2017.
I was gonna say, I've got a 2019 2500 that needs oil changes every once in a while.
I'm sorry, one last question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Too, and you've got the 34 vehicles in the fleet, right? Is that the right number? Are you finding yourselves shortchanged, pinched, or, what kind of analysis goes into determining what's the right number?
Yeah, and I look at Nathan, I think he and I are both looking and trying to evaluate our fleet. We've added a couple of vehicles for this year's fleet. I know SPED bought one specifically for the 18 to 21-year-old program at the high school to get those kids taken care of with some of that stuff. We are finding that First Student uses quite a bit of our vehicles to help out with transportation for some kids that just need special transportation because they don't have the small buses, with everything else with that. I know Nathan asked this question when we met, and we feel confident right now 34 is the right number where we're at with our fleet.
Okay, well, and the reason I ask that is because I've seen it out there in social media.
Yep.
There are certain people drive by and they see all those cars parked either here at the EAC or over in the parking lot of the high school.
Yeah, we have 4 that do stay at the high school for full time. That's for sports. I know golf, tennis, and every one of them always. And coaches on Friday night footballs take always a couple of them. Band takes some. the competition. So we do use 4 for them to use there at the there. Our fleet here, you do see it, but if you come by before school and after school, you see quite a few of them gone because first student does use quite a few.
Yeah, and I just wanted you to be
Yes.
on the record
Yeah.
with that explanation, right? Because it's not like we're frivolously
Right.
leasing vehicles that we don't need. Right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
I have one question. Some of these on our listing have 2025. Did we go through this last year?
You know, that's a good question because I think when Nathan and I were looking to see when you guys had got an enterprise update, we know it came from Doug Schwinn, but we're not quite the sure. And I don't know if it was 23 or 22. I can't answer that correctly. So I'm not sure if you guys got an update or did anything like this last year. So that's why we wanted to bring this to the board to where we're at now currently.
Yeah, cool. Wonderful. Well, any other questions for Mr. Williams? Okay, well, thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to 8.03 Sunflower House MOU. Dr. Robinson.
So I may invite some friends if you've got questions, but we were approached about a month and a half ago by representatives from the Sunflower House. For those of you not familiar with Sunflower House, typically their role is advocacy for children who are suspected of having undergone either physical or sexual abuse. But they do partner with school districts on a number of things. They do some parent training. They do some in-class training at times, things that we've accessed previously. The other thing that they are partnering with school districts now on with an increase in Title IX legislation and the potential for Title IX investigations. One of their areas of expertise is forensic interviews. And so if we had a situation that we suspected there was abuse, they would work with the victim to do the forensic interview, which is something we don't have the expertise in-house. So really what this would do is formalize a partnership with the district as far as programming that our schools are already accessing, but it would also give us another resource should we need to go down the Title IX route. At that point, there would still need to be a need for us to get releases from family and consent that way. But it would give us an avenue to make sure that in that situation that investigations are being done properly. So, Mr. Chitwood, you look like you've got a question already.
Yeah, I do, because maybe I didn't hear correctly, because I thought I heard you say when we suspect abuse, they would come in. When we,
Yeah.
maybe I misunderstand. When we suspect abuse, we call.
Well, we do. And this partnership is with already, all the other Johnson County schools are doing this because of Sunflower House's relationship already with law enforcement. So one of the things they get really concerned when schools start to do their own investigation, or at least to start it, is our principals are fantastic, but they are not trained in this area. So oftentimes, if you have a situation where abuse is suspected, you likely get one good chance of getting the student to tell the story accurately. So yes, I hear where you're going. Would we turn it over to law enforcement? Yes, but we would probably still have to do, if there's a personnel matter or a discipline matter, we would still have to do some things to conduct our own investigation. So this partnership would make sure that we have someone who has an expertise in this area that would make sure that if it goes the criminal route, it's being done properly, and would be ready for presentation in court, but would also potentially be able to share the appropriate information with us to conduct our investigation.
So I'm just trying to get the timing right here, which is ex-teacher walks in and the child says something that tips it off, and they go, hey, put a brief pin in that, or whatever transpires. Sunflower House would be someone, as someone's calling
Yeah.
police, somebody from Sunflower House is
So there's
coming.
probably a lot of steps in there, because we're going to have to still follow Title IX processes that we have. I mean, our first call is going to be law enforcement and working with them. But if we suspect that we have a student-to-student situation, or we have a staff-to-student situation, This would give us a resource that we don't have available to us. That's really simplifying the process, but
Yeah, they're on
What I'm
call.
hearing
We
from
would
you-
call them and they
Yes.
would come running.
absolutely.
Okay.
Dr. Robinson, I'm not connecting the dots here, and so forgive me, but anytime I see an agreement, usually the first place I go is to the back for the exhibit that has the fee schedule on it.
There's not a cost here.
There's no cost.
There is not a cost here. Really, the way I saw this, it's more of a outlining information sharing and what would be expected. I think currently, they have, I may misquote, but when we met with them, I think they had agreements with all but us and maybe one other Johnson County school, and they were working with them to go through their board approval process. I really think this is still something that we would want to, as Mr. Chitwood, there would be other processes that we already have in place that we would want to follow, but it does give us a really good resource. I think the other piece that's there is there's a lot of things that our schools are already accessing, and it would kind of formalize those agreements. If they're wanting to do some parent training, it would help us in understanding the steps that are there and where teaching and learning falls into that and all of those kind of things as well. So we're not asking for action tonight, but since this was kind of the first read of it, we want to do the best we can to answer any questions. So if you have questions over the next couple of weeks, Dr. Smith was in those conversations, so either one of us should be able to respond to your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Armisen. I will say I'm a supporter of Sunflower House. They have wonderful resources for kids. This is a great opportunity for us to utilize some of those resources. Okay, moving on to 8.04, long-term facility use.
Yeah, it's me again. So I promise you I'm done after tonight. I'm actually going to invite Tim's coming up to join us. Zach is unable to be here this evening. He is actually coaching. I can't believe he wanted to coach and not be here to talk about his church. But the way churches reached out to Spring Hill School District to talk about using one of our facilities to hold church services. When it comes to our facility agreement plan, a church has to have a 2-year agreement in our facility, and because of that, it needs to be approved by the board. You could look at, it is attached here, hopefully. There's coming up with that. So we have aligned, we have some of our own custodians lined up to assist them on Sundays. So that was a big task for our district to come up with. So we have those people come up with. Tim also has a copy of their insurance, so it covers our obligation when it comes to insurance with everything. And then they have submitted their timeline, their plan when it comes to that. And they are going to do a soft launch with themselves in December, and they're going to open it to the public starting in January. And so they have obliged with everything, and it's going to be Spring Hill Middle School is what we're asking for the rental. And I am going to turn this over to Tim. So if you have any questions about the church or anything they plan on doing with everything, but obviously our recommendation will be at the board meeting on the 27th to recommend or to approve the recommendation of the Way Church being held at Spring Hill Middle School for the next couple of years.
Thank you. As Mark said, I'm not Zach, obviously, and honored to be a part of just having the opportunity to present to you as a board. As noted, and I think is in your attachments, part of the plan for our church is to continue the process of seed funding for facilities of our own. Our goal would be to be funded at $250,000 by the December of 27 with, and we are in conversations even now with church extension funds, which are loan agencies to churches for the process of whatever that next step is, whether that's acquiring land, building within Spring Hill, or acquiring a facility. We're not sure yet. It kind of depends on what that path would be. Happy to answer questions, but that's kind of it in a nutshell. My role, just to be clear, I am working with Zach as part of the mobilization team, and I would be the primary interface with Mark and Brooke and Kylie and the facilities teams relative to, again, respecting your facility and making sure that we're doing what we need to be doing to prepare for school Monday as we wrap up our tenure. So any questions?
I do have a question for Mark. In the past, there's been a youth theater, community youth theater that uses the middle school auditorium for their productions. Would that be affected by this?
It will not, because they've changed some of their locations the last few years. And so Kylie and I will continue to work with them to make sure that they have a school that they feel comfortable with using. They renew every year with us and they use it for a couple months times, and we'll make sure that they're a location comfortable.
Okay.
With everything. The church will just have the building on Sundays when we're looking at that aspect on that. And just if you're curious, the last time you guys had to approve on this was back in 2016 when Grace Church used Prairie Creek Elementary School.
I had a question, probably more on like the janitor aspect. I know we just don't have a ton of folks lining up to be custodians anymore.
Yeah,
And this is a Sunday
this is a Sunday.
going into winter.
Yep.
So I'm guessing snow removal, ice, all of that comes on us and our crew.
Yeah, I'm nodding yes, but I wish Kylie was here to concur on that, everything with that.
That would,
But I could double check and we can get that to you on the 27th because Kylie will be here for sure on the 27th. But I do know he has two gentlemen lined up, so they're not obligated every Sunday. They can rotate their Sundays to help out.
Yeah, I have, a lot of logistical questions. I think we could have another discussion about this to get through all the logistical because.
Yep, I'll make sure Kylie will be here on the 27th.
Yeah, because I'm worried about making sure we can
for
meet
sure.
all the commitments from our side.
For sure, understand.
To do this.
And when I first became aware of this too, I had a ton of questions. And I should just take them offline with Kylie. But it primarily has to do with the Grace Church at Prairie Creek, because obviously I had a front row seat to that every weekend, right? And it was a Herculean effort on their part just to bring in the trailers and the chairs and the tables and get that in and out. And if I'm not mistaken, it was my understanding that they basically took control of cleaning up after themselves, left the building the way they found it.
Correct. That is part of in our contract. Yes.
Okay.
You guys are there just for assistance on things.
Gotcha. Okay. And so for me, it's just kind of looking at, okay, we've got experience doing this. What exactly did that look like? Right.
For sure.
Yeah. And that's kind of some of my questions, which is, what are, this is for the auditorium and the commons, but like we don't rent out our, just having the pre-discussion of these things are never going to be a part of the lease. They're off limits, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no problem. And like I said, Kylie will be here on the 27th. I have no problem. I can visit with Tim some more. We can reach out to Zach, let him know we need Kylie to answer a few more logistics questions and possibly a vote in November to get everything, make sure we're good to go.
And there was, when Life Spring Church started, they met at Spring Hill Middle School for, I don't know how long. And Tim Meek was part of that church. So that was part of it. But I'm sure that there were certain protocols that same facility.
They were actually bigger because LifeSpring, we use classrooms. They're not asking for classrooms. So this is all open areas. So it would.
Yeah. How do we not reinvent the wheel is kind of
a
lot of where my questions end up.
For sure.
Because the middle school, LifeSpring used that for 5 years probably. And it wasn't, and that was a lot more impactful than what the open common areas are. So.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Williams? Thank you guys for coming tonight. All right, we are going to take a recess until 7:15. Okay, we are back in session and moving on to discussion item 8.05, the strategic plan update.
We do have our strategic plan update. Kristen Zug, I think, is going to be tag teamed a little bit with several different people, but I've been looking forward to this report for quite some time. I know that, again, our Board of Education, as they should, really prioritizes academics and student achievement. And in fact, one of our main Board of Education goals going back more than a year ago was really focusing on improving various levels, especially on our state assessments, and then also looking at our other assessments, like the advanced placement, dual credit, as well as ACT. And so tonight, I think you're really going to be pleased with some of the data that we have back for part one of our student success report. And I'll let Kristen take it from here. But like I said, she's got a lot of great data to show. We've got some of our principals here as well, that again, they have a lot to be appreciative of and know that hard work and pays off, and that the return on investment really is starting to show because of the focus that our board has had on that effort. So Kristen, Mrs. Zuck, please go ahead with part one of your student assessment report.
Okay, thank you. I have the privilege of sharing lots of really good data with you tonight. We have a lot of really positive things to share. So, buckle up. It's a lot. Okay. First, as Dr. Luttrell said, this does tie into our student success goal on our strategic plan. This is strategy 1, which is students meeting or exceeding grade level academic expectations. And some of the things we're going to go through are advanced placement. I've also put in there some College Now data, just so everybody can see how many credits our kids are earning, ACT data, and then state assessment data. So we will go through some of that today. Just kind of want to go over again, either a reminder or for people who maybe don't know a lot about our advanced placement courses. Students can take the courses without signing up to take the exam. However, we like kids to take the exam, as that is how you can earn some college credit. So the benefits of taking an advanced placement course is that it does provide college level learning while they're in high school. So that allows the kids to engage with college level content. They develop some critical thinking skills and higher levels of mastery in different subjects that they choose to take these courses. They also can earn college credit. Different colleges award different credit based on the score and which exam, but that obviously allows kids to enter college already having earned some of those credits, and potentially being able to jump into higher level courses. And also, it really enhances students' college applications and scholarship attainment. So this just shows students are able to take those more challenging courses and does allow them to be a little bit more in the running for getting some of those scholarships. So this is the data from just our last couple of years when we really enhanced our AP courses. So you can see in 2023, we had 198 total exams taken by our students with a 75% passing rate, which at that time was incredible. That is a really high passing rate. The national average is 60%. So we were doing wonderfully. And then this past year, we actually increased our total exams to 232 with an 82% pass rate. So this is a huge achievement for our students. And I did dig a little deeper, have a little more data for you that is not actually in the presentation. But besides just students getting to access this more challenging coursework and be more prepared, this is a huge cost savings to our families. So if we're looking at right now, an AP exam costs $99. So you can potentially earn 3 credits, like 3 college credits for $99. Well, right now, the average rate per credit hour at a typical college or university in Kansas is $406. So that's around $1,200 to take a 3-credit class, or you can take this exam for $99. So based on our number of students who took that exam and our pass rate, our students were able to save $212,000 in just this school year. So that's huge. Just the experience alone and the learning, but then also, saving money is good. I have 4 kids. I'd like to save some money too. So a little more information. The past couple years, we have offered 9 AP courses. We only had 9 available. And this coming year, we have 11. So currently we have 11 AP courses and we have 320 course requests. So that's not 320 separate students, but 320 seats requested in those courses. So that's huge. Last year we had 275. So it's a really big increase in just students signing up for our classes. Of those 232 exams that were taken this past year, they were taken by 178 different students. So we had 178 different students taking advantage of the fact that we offer these AP courses and potentially getting that college credit. So that's a really big deal, I think, in a lot of ways. So I'm very proud of our teachers because that pass rate is very reflective of our really strong teachers as well. So our students are putting in a lot of effort, but they also are doing a fabulous job with these classes. So that is our AP data for the past couple of years. I did put in College Now. So these are the classes that are taught at Spring Hill High School that students earn college credit for. These are through Johnson County Community College. And again, for people who maybe just don't know or kind of want a refresher, here's kind of some of the benefits to this. So this is to be a College Now teacher, you do have to meet some pretty strict requirements. Not all teachers qualify. So we right now have 6 teachers at the high school that teach College Now. We had 5 until this year, and we added another. But you do have to apply and go through an evaluation process to be selected. You have to meet some requirements for that. These are credits that they count for high school graduation for the state of Kansas and also count as college credit. So therefore that dual credit piece. So you're getting double your bang for your buck with these courses. We also have a lot of students who take advantage of what's called Excel and CTE. I don't know if you remember what these are. They used to be it's a Senate bill that went into effect in 2012. But basically it is high school students who are interested in particular trades or technical fields can take these specific courses, and it is free of tuition. So they can go and choose, and we have several students who do this. So they go and they do not pay tuition for this, and they do get the credit at our high school and they get the credit at the college for this. And then also we have KBOR, which is Kansas Board of Regents Seamless Transfer. So the courses that we offer here for College Now are part of the Seamless Transfer, which means that any Kansas college or university takes those no questions asked. So you know that if you're paying this money and taking this class, it will easily transfer to K-State, KU, Washburn, wherever it is that you want to go. So here's just our numbers for the last 2 years. So in 2023, we had students that earned 614 credits. And that's just in your general College Now. 57 of those were the Excel and CTE. And then just this past year, we had 606 total credits earned with 102 in Excel and CTE, which are those technical CTE courses. So again, I have a little more data for you on this one. Of this one, we had, in 2023, we had 107 students earn 614 credits. So 107 of them went and took these classes, paid the money to go to Johnson County and got this credit. In 24-25, we had 102 students earn those credits. This year so far, we have 119 students enrolled in 532 credits, and that's as of October. So we will have a whole nother set of them in January that will enroll. So when it comes to just, again, taking challenging courses, pushing themselves a little bit, this is phenomenal opportunity for our students, but also cost savings for families. So just a little bit of information, a Johnson County Community College credit hour is $101. The state average credit hour is $406. So students who took classes there, oh, and remember the Excel and CTE is $0. So really good bargain there. In 24-25, well, in 23-24, our students saved $210,000, a little over. And in 24-25, they saved $226,000 by taking classes here compared to the average cost in the state of Kansas. So again, just a great opportunity for kids, a great cost savings for our students. We've had over 100 students in each of these last years enroll in AP and in college now. So we have a lot of kids taking advantage of all these opportunities, which is great. I encourage all kids to do this. This is not something that is just for your super high flying kids. And you can see it's really, a lot of kids are taking advantage of it. And I really encourage them to, especially because if you're a senior, think about it, in just a couple months, you're going to be enrolling in college or maybe a post-secondary school. So go ahead and get that opportunity now. So I think this is something that's wonderful for all of our kids. But this is just some fun information for you. Do you guys have any questions so far?
I had just one question. Are Miami County students still have to pay a little bit more?
They do a little bit more. They have to pay 121 per credit hour instead of 101.
That's
So
okay.
It is a little bit more, but still so much cheaper than anywhere else.
Will you tell me how kids learn about, like, obviously the AP in college now are classes we kind of teach here, but how do kids learn about the Excel and the CT, those programs?
I am so glad that you asked. Okay, so that is also part of all of the presentations that we are doing with all kids starting in middle school right now. So we're going to the middle schools. Actually right now, Leah Good has been working with our middle schools to start during advisory, having them actually really get into what are the CTE opportunities that we offer. They are meeting and talking with our CTE teachers, some of the students, people in the industry, and then they're going to do a review of like our programming. So we're actually starting that in the 8th grade at least, if not before, so that they can see a little bit about what we offer, but then what that would lead them to. What jobs would that be that I could do? And then they will know then what opportunities we offer. And if we don't offer it, can they take it at Johnson County? So we're starting at middle school. Elementary is more of like your career exploration type thing, because I don't know that they have a great grasp of courses that you would take or the college credits, but middle school they should. And so we really want to make sure that at least starting in 8th grade, they can start making those plans.
Can any grade level take these classes, or do you have to be a senior?
Good question. No, we actually have them. A lot of them are junior and senior. There are a couple like AP that you can take as a sophomore. So like AP European History is a sophomore level, but they want you to be a junior or a senior to enroll in the college now. But yeah, it is not just for seniors. Juniors can do it too.
So I just want to make a comment because this is just kind of where we've been as a family. So our older kids there was just a few classes they could take. And for the younger ones, they all were able to do, get out of college in 4 years, which is huge when you have scholarships and they only cover 4 years. If you have to take an extra year, can get really expensive. But the great thing was taking some of these harder classes. They didn't have to take as many credit hours per semester. Mm-hmm. And so they could also do work like year-long internship experiences and that sort of thing. So it's just such a great thing. And to see us growing it's really, really good for our students. So thank you guys so much for all your effort in this.
Yeah, thank you. I like to hear that.
Yeah, on this side, I kind of add in, fortunate one of mine, we just recently went through college graduation plan and with the hours she got, she's going to be graduating a semester early. And thanks to these types of things and highlighting, we're not quite there yet, but we're approaching about $500,000 a year in value to families, which by next year, we should be hitting that number. That's super awesome. Listening to this, it sounds like some of this has grown about 20% year over year in terms of interest. And, that's great that the interest is there. Do we attribute any of that to moving to the Latin honors program versus, weighted grades?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I think a lot of that is that kids are willing to take the classes because we had some who would anyway, but I do think this encourages students who might have not been sure if they would be successful to go ahead and take a more challenging course, which is what we wanted. Okay. I'm now going to talk about the ACT a little bit, another area we're really proud. So the ACT does a few things, and I know that over time we've had some different ideas and feelings about the ACT, but it does still assess academic readiness for college or skilled trade program. So both, looking at the areas of math, reading, science, English, and it also provides colleges and post-secondary programs with a type of measure to look for admissions. Now they do look at other areas as well. So you can get into most universities and colleges without the ACT, but you may not be able to get into their schools within that university. So for example, if you wanted to get into KU, K-State, any of those other schools, you could potentially get in without an ACT score. That is one of the options. But then if you were to want to go into one of their specialized programs or degrees, you may need an ACT to get into that. So it is still a great thing for kids to take seriously, try to do well on. It really does, help know if they will be ready for this. Another thing is it does help with scholarships, for sure, and a few other areas. It helps them know for course placement. So even if you can get into the school, you can get into the college because you have a super high GPA, it will also help them know what math course to put you in or what English course to put you in, so you're not paying for remedial classes, different things like that. So it is very important still for those admissions. And it also does help us with determining areas of improvement and guides some of our curricular development that we do here in our school district. So ACT provides you some guidance documents for your curriculum. So we use those as we are working with, for sure, high school teams, but also middle school, where we look at what should kids know and be able to do on these different areas, and how is that built into our curriculum as we are building those out for the year to make sure that our kids are ready for these high stakes assessments, but also just knowing that they're ready to go do whatever it is that they're going to do next. So we use the ACT for all of those things. You can see this is including this past year, so this is our past 5 years. And you can see our composite score has increased. We met our goal of a 22 composite. So we're really proud of that. This is for Spring Hill High School. And they did meet 22.1 with 212 total exams. So this is a really big deal. It is hard to move an ACT score. So this was really big.
Was it higher or lower prior to 2020? 2021?
Honestly, it was a little bit lower.
Okay.
But the other thing too is you'll remember a few years back, a little bit before that, was when the state began paying for all junior.
And everybody took it.
So everyone took it regardless of what their plans were or if they were ready for it or whatever. So as a state, you did kind of see a decline. The state average currently is a 19.3. That is the Kansas State ACT score average. So we're well above that. So we're feeling really confident that we're doing good things with that. Do you have any questions about that one? Nope. Okay. Okay, now we're getting to state assessment. So as you all know, we take the state assessment each year in the spring in the areas of English language arts, math, and science. And we do this for grades 3 through 8, and then at the high school at varying grade levels. This measures specific claims related to the standards, to our Kansas State standards. The reports individual student scores along with each student's performance level, and each family will get those results so they know how their student is doing. It provides the area and total scores that can be used to improve a building's or a district's program. So we do look at these every single year and see what kinds of adjustments we maybe need to make, celebrate where we're doing well, those kinds of things. And something to really point out as you're looking at these, it only assesses items that are on students' grade level. It will not tell you if a student is performing in any area above or below grade level. This is only measuring things on their grade level with things that they would have learned that school year. So just keep that in mind as we're going through the data. Here are the performance level descriptors as defined by the Kansas Department of Education. So level 1 is showing a limited ability to demonstrate their knowledge and skill at their grade level in either ELA math or science standards. So again, it will never tell you if they're scoring below or above grade level. It is just on grade level and how proficient are they based on what they can demonstrate. So a level 1, they show a limited ability. Level 2, a student shows a basic ability to demonstrate their knowledge and skills at that grade level. A student at level 3 shows a proficient ability to demonstrate their knowledge and skills. And a student at level 4 shows an advanced ability. So 3 and 4 are considered varying levels of proficient. And then 1 and 2 are approaching, but they are not considered proficient at that grade level.
Real quick, Kristen,
Yes.
is this the same as it was last year, or is this part of the new change that was passed?
The descriptions are a little bit different.
Okay.
So yeah, they're a little bit more clear and a little bit more, they did adjust it so that 1 and 2 are actually approaching. They are not proficient, and 3 and 4 are proficient. So that would be the biggest difference here. And then I did throw in an example because it is kind of hard to know what that would look like on a test if you're looking at a student's ability. So this is a grade 3 multiplication standard that we teach. A level 1 student would be able to do 6 times 4 because we are looking at interpreting products of a whole number. So if I can do 6 times 4, that's great, but that's only a level 1, according to the state. Level 2, a little bit of a word problem here. A farmer has 6 rows of apple trees. Each row has 4 trees. How many trees are there in all? So you've taken the same thing, you've added some little bit of words, see how well they can figure that out, but that is still approaching. So if you go back here, level 1 was a limited ability. So it's not saying they cannot demonstrate anything, it's just limited. Level 2 is a basic ability. 3 and 4 is what is considered proficient in 3rd grade for this standard. So 3, you can see what the difference would be. This is Maria says 6 times 4 is the same as 4 times 6. Do you agree? And then explain why using a drawing or an array. So you can just see a little bit that this is a more complex question. You're getting more critical thinking, and there's a lot more application of the knowledge. So it's not just did you memorize it, it's what can you do with it. Okay, so that is considered proficient. That is what we are looking for in 3rd grade with this standard. And then level 4, as you look through there, that takes a little more work from a student. So that's a student is setting up chairs for a concert. They put 6 rows of chairs with 8 chairs in each row. Then they decide to add 2 more rows with the same number of chairs in each row. How many chairs will there be in total? So this is just kind of showing you the level of complexity that you're looking at in the same standard at the same grade level. But to be considered proficient or advanced, you really have to be able to do things with that. You need to apply it. You need to critically think through it. And this is just 3rd grade. So if you're thinking of what does a 10th grade assessment look like, what does an 8th grade, I mean, they're pretty complex.
More than coincidence that the answer for level 4 is 6 and 4.
I don't think so.
And not 6, 7.
You had to do it, huh?
Playing big.
Solid dad joke.
It was a solid dad joke. Good work. Okay, so here is our data. This is a summary of all of our district data. This is for including last year, this is the last 3 years. The first is the state and then the district. So remember, what we want to see is our level 1s decreasing and our 3s and 4s increasing, because 3 and 4 is considered proficient. So as you go through, you can see our most recent data. This is for math at our brick and mortar schools. And you can see we did just that. So you can see what compared from year to year for our district, and then see how we are compared to the state. So if we want to just look at our comparisons from last year, we went from 15% in level 1 down to 11% in level 1. And then we went from 33% in level 3 to 39, and then 19% in level 4 to 20. So we did increase our 3s and 4s and decreased our level 1. And we're doing a lot better than the state.
Yeah, and the state didn't publish the changes in the cut scores to the best of my knowledge. Is that correct? And in the methodology and
Yeah,
oh,
they
it
did.
is. Okay.
Yeah, there is. And we sent it to families as well.
Okay. Okay.
And then we did break this down by grade level so that you can see maybe a little more clearly. So grade 3, we just put levels 3 and 4 since that's what's considered proficient. So the state has 42% overall, like across the state, 42% of our students are scoring at a 3 and 4. And here in Spring Hill, 62% of our students are scoring at a 3 and 4. Grade 4, the state also only had 42%. We have 68%. And then level 5, the state has 42% and we have 60%. And then on the next slide, I did put secondary. So 6th grade, the state has 39% proficient and we have 55%. 7th grade, the state is 35% and we have 60%. And then 8th grade, the state is at 38% proficient and we are at 53% proficient. And then for 10th grade, the state has 34% and we are at 54% proficient. And this is math.
Okay, I want to ask a question about 10th grade.
Sure.
If I remember, I don't have my sheet with me, but if I remember right, the high school presented that. And they said prior year, our math score was in the 30%. Is that right?
Maybe.
I
believe so.
I could find,
I think, no, I don't think it was that low. It wasn't quite that low.
I felt like math was the one that jumped a lot.
It did.
A
Yes.
lot, like
Yes.
a lot, 20-ish.
Yep. It also had jumped a lot the year before. So we've actually been growing really well in math.
Yes. Okay. But what was the proficient score? So we assumed that was because of cut scores and the skewing. Okay, because that's a lot to grow in 1 year.
You would think that, but the state was also measured with that. I mean, everyone around us was measured with the same cut score and they did not all grow like we did. So it's not just because of that. Okay. So we'll show you.
Yeah.
We have some preliminary data from our neighbors.
Because that's one that I want to see.
So we have preliminary data.
Feeling pretty good about how we did. I think we only have one competitor that I think is.
There is one district that outscored us.
The same one. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm eager to see that next time. So
you should be. It'll be great. But since I already got in trouble for my really long presentation, we'll do that next time. Oh, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
One district outperforming.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I didn't know what you.
Sorry. Yes. In all 3 areas, we only have one district that has outperformed us. So we don't have all of the data yet, but yes. That'll be coming next. Stay tuned. Okay. So if we're looking at ELA, this is again for the entire district, comparing the state to us. So you can see this is the last 3 years of data. And again, we did decrease our level 1s and we greatly increased our 3s and 4s. So you can see we did a great job both internally, but then also compared to the state. And then again, we have broken it down. Here's elementary, grades 3, 4, and 5. So you can see according to the state has 52% considered proficient. We have 69% for grades 3. Grade 4, the state has 49%. We are at 66%. Grade 5, the state has 49% of students proficient and we have 71%. That's huge. Secondary. So 6th grade, the state has 42% proficient. We have 62%. Grade 7, also 42% at the state level, and we have 65% proficient. 8th grade, the state has 40% proficient, and we have 54. And then 10th grade, the state has 38% proficient, and we have 44% proficient.
Kristen, I just want you to realize we're not sleepy, we're not bored.
It's a lot.
And it is a lot of data to comprehend, but we share in your guys' excitement and we're incredibly proud
Great.
of the results.
Thank you.
I mean,
Yep, it's just a lot.
don't read the body language incorrectly.
Nope, reading nothing, you're doing good. Okay, and then last here's science, and a lot fewer students take science. They are only tested at grades 5, 8, and 11. So there is a little bit less data. So here's the data though for us compared to the state and compared to ourselves in previous years. But you can see we did greatly increase 3s and 4s, and we decreased our 1s. There was a little bit of an anomaly though in that when we compare it by grade level. So the state had 45% of 5th graders proficient. We had 59. 8th grade, there was only 38% proficient at the state level, and we had 58. There is no grade 11 data that has been shared anywhere, not just our district, but across the state. They did not get the range of scores that they needed to create those cut scores. So they are going back and editing those assessment items and going to recalibrate that. So right now there is no data for science across the state. And that is the extent of my information for you. But we typically do really well on science, so I'm anxiously awaiting because those look really good for us usually.
They were sad.
They were sad. They worked really hard. But I can guarantee they're doing a nice job over there. You just can't tell from state assessments because there's no data. When there is, we'll let you know. Just a few recognitions. You may have already seen these, but we're really excited about them. So we're going to tell you again. Our brick and mortar students overall ranked in the approximate 93rd percentile of all Kansas students that took the spring 2025 state assessments. So we're very pleased with that. And I know this was mentioned before, but we talk about it a lot because we're really excited about it. In August, we were rated the best on the best high schools of 2025. Spring Hill was ranked 17 out of about 350 in the state. So we're super excited about that. Very proud of them. The other thing?
You can tell them about that.
Okay. Just a little sneak preview. We did get back our results from our STAR applications, and we did receive 4 STAR awards this year, which we've never done before. So we're super excited. I have nothing to show you yet because we just found out, but
Back of the room is cheering.
we were all so excited. There was a lot of cheering. We were pretty happy about it. So I don't know, Erin, do you want to share anything else about it, or are you going to tell them what they are?
Yeah. No,
Okay. I don't have, you can.
Okay. I feel like I'm crashing.
Do they come with banners?
I know. We have to make our banners.
Yeah, they give us a high quality PDF. That's what they say, where we can make our banners. But no, honestly, I am incredibly proud of our administrators and our teachers and of course our students, because when I started working here, we had not received any awards for STAR recognitions. And so last year we received 2, this year we received 4. So for the first time, we received recognition for our individual plans of study. So all of that real world learning that we've been talking about, and all of the data that Kristen just shared about students taking AP classes and challenging themselves with College Now, all of that feeds into those individual plan of study applications. So really proud of our students for that and for continuing that effort. We continued to get, for the second year in a row, recognized for our state assessment data. So from copper to bronze on that. So we're moving on up the ladder. And we were recognized again for our civic engagement. And then for the first time, we were also recognized for work in social emotional growth. And I attribute a lot of that to our elementary schools particularly. Everybody did a great job, but I am going to shout out the elementary schools because they've been working so hard the last few years with Leader and Me and getting our kids to, adopt those 7 habits. And I think that's been a huge boost for our elementary schools, and our kids have carried that on into middle school and high school. So we have gone in essentially 4 years from 0 awards to 4 awards. So very excited for them, and I will stop crashing the presentation.
We did a good job. We're gonna need more room to hang all of our banners. Okay. The last thing that I wanted to put is just some next steps that we have identified that we want to move forward with and work on, and that is hopefully the implementation of a data dashboard, just so we can have better access to interpret all of that data that we have, because we get a lot of data from great places, but being able to pull it all together and make an impact with that data is really what we're looking for. So we're hoping to move forward on that. As administrators, at the district and the building level, we have all spent and will continue to spend more time in classrooms and calibrating around just best practices in instruction. So we know that we have worked with our teams to create solid curriculum maps, some assessments. They have good instructional materials. So now our focus has really moved more towards that execution in the classroom. So looking at what kind of strong strategies are being used in the classroom. So that's kind of our big focus this year. Continuing to use the CAP, the state assessment minis and interims, just so our kids get used to taking them, they understand them, using more of those released items from AP exams, the ACT, different things like that. I know that we talked with the superintendent student advisory a little bit and shared the data with them, and they had some great ideas about some of these things particularly, but giving them more opportunities to learn testing strategies and practice how to take those kinds of assessments because they are different and they are more difficult in some different ways. So giving them more opportunities to do those kinds of things was one of the main things that they had talked about. Also providing professional development to all staff on their instructional materials as well as those strategies. So making sure that everybody has a toolkit with them that they feel they can use in the classroom to really use those strong strategies with all the good resources that they have. And something else we're really working on this year is building those strong vertical teacher teams. So making sure that that continuous learning for our students happens, especially because we know there's those transition years that can be really difficult. So the more that our teachers can provide that great experience pre-K through 12 for our kids is really beneficial to them. But just looking at skill progression and making sure that we can increase our student outcomes through that. So we've started that process and the teachers really loved it and found it really beneficial. So we're continuing to provide those opportunities as well. Okay, that was a lot. Anything you guys, any questions?
I will say I sat in with Mr. Meek at the middle school site council this past, I don't know, weeks ago now, I don't even know when. And he was commenting on some of the great news out of that school. And actually Ted asked, well, what's making the changes? What are you guys seeing? And Mr. Meek really was clear that the curriculum has really evened out, and he accredited the teaching and learning group a lot for that. He said it's a lot more consistent and that you guys are in guiding the schools. So I know this is like a lot of great news and there's some cheering, but just to hear something like that from such an incredible leader in our district, I thought was really touching.
That is really touching. Thanks, Mark.
Because I'll pay you later.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll share just a quick version of a story. I ran into a parent somewhere and kind of the broad strokes of the story was they came into the district and tested, and their student tested way below grade level. And through the support of these programs and the students, they were in a year's time able to turn that around and get them testing on grade level and make real achievements. So the efforts are there. Parents are seeing it. We're seeing it. Thank you.
Love that story. Thank you. Okay. Well, if there's no more questions, I'll have part 2 for you next time.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Hello, good evening, everyone. I am here to talk about the virtual side of things. Maybe, there we go. I kind of went the opposite order, so I'm going to start with state assessments. But before we get into that, I just wanted to do a quick recap of what state assessments looks like in the virtual world, because that has been a little bit different the last couple of years. Last year was our second year that we were legally allowed to have our virtual students take the state assessments virtually. And I would say just over 90% of our students do opt to do that versus go in person. We've talked about that over the years. If they take them in person, we get them one day and they do them all, which we all know is not the best for the kiddo. That's testing fatigue times 10. So we really have steered our students and their families to doing them virtually. That's the way that they do their schooling day in and day out. It just makes sense. We can break it up. And so this was the second year that we did it virtually. There were hiccups as we went, but we got it done and we did see some growth. So that is exciting. So I will dive into that. We'll start with math. Just looking at both of the schools all together, you can see that we did decrease our level ones and we did increase our levels 3 and 4 pretty significantly, 5% jump. So we were very excited about that. For ELA, looking maybe, there we go. We also decreased level ones by about 7% and increased our levels 3 and 4 by about 12%. So we were excited to see that as well. Science was a bit of an anomaly. We did not have, as Kristen said, we did not have 11th grade data. We did slightly increase level 1 and slightly decreased our 3s and 4s. So we're diving into that, looking at just the 2 grade levels that did take the test. It looks more like a 5th grade thing. So we're going back to the curriculum, looking at the standards, looking at the information that we get on the reports, going kid by kiddo, all those good things, just to see generally what the themes are, make sure that we've, double checked alignments, maybe reordering some things that how we have them do things in the curriculum, et cetera. So we are addressing that and hope that moving forward, that won't be the case any longer. Any questions on state assessment data?
Are they still not letting you take the minis and?
That's a great question. So we are allowed to take the minis and we are implementing that this year. They will not let us take the interims. They have said that because we would be doing them virtually, something about it skewing their data, and so they won't allow us to take them. So our students don't get to take the interim exams, but we have been doing the minis, we just have not been doing them in KITE. But now that we are testing virtually, we are going to go ahead and do the minis in KITE so that our kids can practice. We can make sure that they've got KITE downloaded properly on whatever device they're schooling, because you get into all those logistics that the tech team can take care of in a brick and mortar school before testing. Our families have to make sure that they've done on their own if they're going to take the virtual assessments virtually. If they have loaner devices from us, we do have our assessment team do a KITE push out, but they still have to log in, make sure that it works, troubleshoot if there's any issues, that kind of thing. But minis will start this year. We're very excited. They are going to be actually in a couple of weeks is going to be round 1. And interims we still are not able to do.
Still not. How many interims do we do at brick and mortar?
3.
Are they? I thought there was 1, 2.
Windows, yeah.
Okay.
Winter. There are refunds.
Yeah. I mean, if you can take the actual assessment virtually, I don't know why we couldn't take the interim virtually as well. So we'll continue to have those conversations. We do Fast Bridge as well, just like the district does 3 times a year with our kiddos as well. So they are getting to do that. And that gives us data that we can then use to drive instruction, small groups, interventions, all that kind of thing. But interims would be, it's on my wish list, but we'll start with the minis and go from there. Any other questions on state assessment?
Cassie, I'll just give you some praise here that clearly the numbers are moving in the right direction, right? And I know that it's somewhat of a challenge in the way that we go about teaching through our virtual school, but having been lucky enough to participate in a couple of the graduations and actually get to talk to and meet the students of this program, I can't tell you how proud I am for USD230 to be associated with something that has this type of impact that reaches all corners of our state. So once again, I commend you on the numbers moving in the right direction.
Thank you. Thank you. We're excited. We were digging in. still a lot of data digging to do. As you all know, we didn't get these scores until the fall, and there's a million other things going on in the fall, but we started taking preliminary dives into new students and how they fared on the assessment versus our returners. Our returners did have lower percentages of ones and more of our returners scored in the 3s and 4s than of our new students, which is kind of the trend and makes sense, but it's just another good little feeling to have, like, okay, if they come and they stick with us and we're consistent with them, things tend to go in the right direction. Kind of to your story of someone moving in, you get a chance to work with them and we can move them and get them caught up, close that gap a little bit. So our retention rates, the students who have been returning year over year have continually increased. So we'll just keep continuing to work with families to be what they need, but also be what they need in the education aspect, not only just the flexibility and all the other things that kind of initially draw them to us. They realize their kids are getting a good education and hopefully stick with us. So we'll keep that going. All right, moving on. ACT composite. This is a tough one for us because our N value, our number of students that take it is very small. So that's why you see kind of the bigger changes over time. We were at a 19.6, which was a decrease for 2025. I think we had less than 10 students take it. I'd have to look at that again because I know we do offer an on-site on the day that the state kind of sets, but also we have students who can sign up and take it like at an area school on their own time as well that factor into that. But we're still in a good place. What we noticed year over year, and so we're just continuing to think outside the box, is how to make sure the students understand what the ACT will look like, what they need to do, you know, to maybe practice a little bit ahead of time. And so we've put some things in place, but also, do they need to be taking it or not? And just continuing to have those conversations in their IPS meetings with their counselors has been very helpful. Another thing we're running into is the parents really wanting the student to take it, the student not really wanting to take it. At the end of the day, it's the student decides how much effort they put forth. So just trying to have those conversations in those IPS meetings with their counselor before they're sitting in the testing room, not feeling it that day. Trying to continue to work on that approach a little bit more. Our advanced placement, we did have one student take one AP test, so I didn't want to put the outcomes on the chart, but we do offer that one as well. We already have one signed up for this year, so I'm very excited about that. We do not have a large AP population as far as wanting to take those courses, but we do offer them, and we always put feelers out in the spring for returning students for the fall. You know, what kind of courses would you be interested, so we can see if we have staff that are licensed and ready to go to teach those courses, because we would love to see that population grow. It's very exciting to hear it at the brick and mortar, and we would love to see that in our world as well. And then graduation rate. I like to bring this one, especially now. That wasn't my favorite to talk about several years ago, but and we actually have hot off the presses new news. So the dropout graduation summary report did open. It was October 1st, not at 8 a.m. like I thought, but that morning sometime it opened up, and we were at initially a 77.3, which is an increase from last year, 71.2. And we're actually now sitting at a 77.7 because we had one student we applied to have removed. We knew that they moved out of state and had evidence of that, and that was approved over the weekend. And we have, I think, submitted 4 more. Very similar circumstances. We have evidence in our hands that they've done something different and should be removed. So we have made another decent jump in our graduation rate, which is very exciting. And I will let you know once we have a final one. We have the rest of this month to continue to look through students. I think we've found the majority of the ones that we have evidence of doing something different. You know, we're always going to have a population that choose to go the GED route, or they just are going to be finished schooling and go into the workforce. Many times those students do come back to us. Sometimes it's years later, because we do have that adult program. They can come back and we just pick up where they left off as best we can and work to finish finish them up at that point. So, but we are very excited about this one. It's been a lot of hard work. And it's really been great to see that line continue to go.
So Cassie, I just wanted to, thanks for all you're doing to work on this, especially with how, you know, the state reports the graduation rate for district wide. But like back in 2018, were you doing that research with kids and really trying to track them and all that kind of stuff?
We didn't have as clear-cut systems as we do now.
Yeah.
A lot of those came in probably around 2019, 2020.
Well,
It's probably about the
great.
time they made it
Yeah.
district-wide.
Great work though. Great work on working on
Sure.
that.
And one note on graduation rate, you'll note this slide this year. If you're feeling deja vu, this is the same presentation, just another year's worth of data added, but it says federal graduation rate. There was a law passed that the state does have to do an alternate graduation rate calculation for virtual, actually all schools. And remove students who leave for homeschool or private non-accredited school, I think is what they officially call it. But if they leave to go to homeschool, that was counting against all public schools in the state. Those are now factored out. I think so they've called that the state graduation rate. And I think ours is around 79 with those kids out, actually maybe 80. I think we had 7 of them. So that is what they're supposed to be using when it comes to accreditation purposes. So that should be helpful as well, although it's great to see both of them increase.
Yeah, see, it's fabulous increases. So as you work through the rest of the month, I mean, what's I don't want to call them MIA, but what's the MIA population look like that you're having to work through?
There are only, there's a code, it's a 17 unknown. There were 12 of them, but one of them we actually now know they were unknown when they exited our school. So maybe they just disappeared on us. And after a long time of trying to call, email, et cetera, couldn't reach them, whatever the case may be. So we know where one is now, and we're actually going to be able to apply to remove that student. So that leaves us just with 11 that, as far as we know, have not continued schooling anywhere. Definitely not in the state of Kansas. Could they have in another state and that school just didn't know to reach out to us for a request of records? Yes, but that's 11 of them.
So if we moved up 4/10 with one student, that means if we found all 11 of these, we could potentially go over 80% if they were all removed.
If they were all removed, yes,
Okay.
but very likely they're not schooling anywhere. Because usually if a student moves out of state, that school will still reach out to us for a request of records. And that's the evidence we have to then apply for official removal from our dropout list with the state. So sometimes the families will move and they tell the new school that they were homeschooling, because we are school from home, but we're public school from home. We keep trying to let them know that. But if they've told them that, they wouldn't necessarily know to reach out to us, and we wouldn't know that they're there, because you can only track within the state, in the state system, if that makes sense. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So a few of our next steps. The virtual assessment logistics is going to be important. For each test, we did have a good 30-ish students who did not finish. They were all virtual testers, and maybe they took the first part of the math assessment, never came back to finish the second one, or couldn't finish the second one. The state does require for virtual assessments that we use a third-party proctor vendor. So that just adds some logistics that have to be worked through. We're already on it. The state is actually holding monthly meetings this year to prepare for virtual assessments, which I think will be very helpful. So we'll just continue to do all that we can to improve those logistics so we can get our students tested. Other thing that's important to note is they only give us 10 days for virtual testing. The brick and mortar side of it, or our in-person side's like 5 or 6 weeks, I believe. So it's just a lot to happen in a short amount of time, but we get it done. we'll continue to focus on all sorts of different things, but this data being kind of a forefront of the list for our PLC times. We do PLC time on Wednesdays, just as the brick and mortars do. We've implemented the instructional rounds tool as well. We've talked about the alignment, making sure that our courses are aligning to the state standards, reconfiguring as we need to, et cetera. Communicating with our families. We are working on finishing getting the state assessment individual reports out to the families. Those come in a big batch. You've got to break them up and then rename them all and then get them out to the families individually. So that takes some time, but we've gotten a lot of great feedback from the families. They're excited to see that and know what to work on and focus on. So that's been good. We're going to implement those mini tests. We have courses for K-8 that's called Skills Arcade. We have them for math, reading, and science. So we're increasing our time that we expect students to be in working on those. It's very gamified, so they do enjoy it. They can earn coins and do who knows what in there, but we're trying to get them to spend a little bit more time on there to supplement what they're doing in their online courses. And then just continuing to have that partnership, especially with our secondary kiddos and their counselors, in talking about what do you want to do after high school and how do we get there together. So any other questions for me tonight? All right.
Well, thank you, guys. Thank you. This is wonderful information. I'm very excited for next time and really diving in the details. And Cassie, I'm really excited. Will you be coming with details as well?
I can be. Well, I don't think I was, but I certainly can. I would love to.
Well, I'm really excited about your graduation rates.
Yes.
That's the progress that's been made there is amazing. So keep it up.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for your time this evening.
Thank you. Okay. All right, moving on. We have a few action items. 9.01, the Spring Hill High Choir Trip to Washington, D.C.
Madam President, I move the board approve the Spring Hill High School choir trip to Washington, D.C. as presented.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, did we discuss if we were gonna at least cover Miss Tachop's fees? I know she didn't ask for it, but maybe if we could if we offered it and then she could decide how she wants to break it up or fundraising or whatever, but.
Yeah. Don't we normally typically cover 2 chaperones for these things?
We have in the past, typically as
Yeah.
part of the ask.
Yeah.
And
we
it
just
was,
Put it in her request.
John, you brought it up.
I brought it up.
Yeah.
Is that what you meant was
I
with
will
the,
amend my motion to exclude the coverage of the sponsor, 2 sponsors.
I'll still second.
Okay.
Thank
All right, there's a motion and a second to approve the trip and cover 2 sponsors' costs. Okay, any further discussion? Rachel, please take the vote.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
Mr. Hull,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
approved.
Okay, moving on to 9.02, approval of purchase of the data dashboard. Excuse me. I'm
Can
not
we
sure.
go through the 55 slides again?
Yeah.
I did want to just real quickly before you take a vote, there were a couple questions last time, so I just wanted to make sure. I had shared in the Friday update, and it is available on ION's website, their policies around student data privacy as it relates to FERPA. So that is available, so any of our students and families would be able to review the privacy policies. And I'm going to say some tech things and hope that this makes sense. I'm looking at Billy. I did run this by just to make sure, but when I talked with Ion, they are undergoing their SOC2 audit process, which would be completed in early 2026. But they have already confirmed with their data center that they are SOC1 and SOC2 compliant. So they'll have reports for customers in early 2026 that we can review. The other question that was asked at the previous meeting was about upgrades, if there are new features with the data dashboard, or if we would like to create new dashboards during the term of our contract, would that cost extra? And it will not. Those are features that are included as part of our contract. So if we think of a new cool whiz-bang dashboard that we want to add, they'll work with us to do that. And then we can have a 56 slide presentation instead of a 55.
Ooh, my favorite.
I knew you'd be excited. So, I think those were largely the questions that were asked last time.
Yeah, so they're not audited. They say they're compliant. They're going through their audit. Audit results are coming out. And I just kind of bring that up in the sense that now that we're warehousing, that's part of the ask every year, which is, hey, your audit was good, right? Share your one pager that says we're compliant, and that gets on somebody's radar, Billy, or somebody. Yeah.
Well, looking at the tech director for that one.
That was my concern. Thank you.
Well, and I'll just add too, Dr. Smith, I know you went through this with your group, and this one rose to the top, but Billy, it also carries your endorsement as well, right?
Yeah, I sat through all of the
All the great presentations.
yeah, all the presentations. It's a great product.
Yeah, okay.
It's just as secure and safe as any of the other out there. I think it's gonna be a good fit for our district.
Okay. Well, I will entertain a motion.
Be entertained, because I shall move to approve the Ion purchase as presented.
I'll second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, Rachel, please take the vote.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
Mr. Hull,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
approved.
Okay. Action item 9.03, approve Board of Education policies A through D.
What I did was take the changes that were discussed at the work session and put them here. What you have is a summary document for you and for the public to know what's being recommended. There's a packet of the policies that are being either added or updated, and then there's a separate document with the policies that are being recommended for removal. So I stand for any additional questions.
My question was around the discussion of effective. Is this something that we're wanting to make these policies effective as of today, or was wanting to, if you roll them into the next school year, the preference? Not my preference, yours.
I don't think it matters either way. I think if you've, it may be easier as we progress to just keep approving them as they come up. And that way we can go ahead and start, especially knowing you may have a board platform transition coming as well at some point this year. I'd recommend that you approve these as they come up. And if there's specific ones that we need to pull out, that we then could include them in the next round, but that we'll keep taking them in chunks. And what I've tried to do with the work calendar moving forward is to put it on a work session and then give 2 or 3 weeks before they would come for action. So that again, if there's it's an opportunity for us to make revisions, but also for you to look at them closer. And if there's something you catch or something you want to discuss further, but I'd ask for them to be approved as presented.
Awesome. Then I'll go ahead and move to approve them as presented.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Rachel, please take the vote.
Mr. Hull,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
approved.
Okay. Moving on to future discussion items. Anything that we would like to remove?
Well, I saw that we have all of the test scores now. Mine was reading test scores across all elementary schools. I didn't know if we were gonna see like an individual report from each school or if it was just the whole district report. So,
Yeah. So I
Yes,
think,
please.
yeah, at our next meeting, I think we're gonna dive
that's
into
what's
the
happening at the next
numbers.
meeting. Okay,
Yep.
perfect. So that
A
can come
little
off
bit.
of there then, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Anything else anyone would like to remove? What about adding? Anything anyone would like to add? I have one thing. I don't know that we need to add it, but just a thought. A couple years ago, it could have been last year, as today we looked at the Sunflower House, knowing that we are mandatory reporters and going through the training that comes with that. And I'm not sure if, I can't remember who sent it to us last time, if it was Rachel or if it was Michelle.
I think it was
Yeah.
HR sent it to.
Michelle sent it to us
So,
last year.
Yeah, making sure that we all
I see Eric getting a
complete
pin
that
out.
again. So just a thought there. Anything else?
Well,
Oh.
I know Kylie's not here, but to refresh my memory, I think they're getting prepared, Mark, to come back with some type of presentation on providing internet to the ball diamonds. It's okay.
I think it's on the agenda, isn't
Is it on the work
I
calendar?
know that Billy and Nick Stiles have reached out to the company
Yeah.
to get a couple ideas on some quotes on what it will cost out there. We've been talking to BJ Harris too, to
Okay.
make sure it covers the area that he needs, working with Clay to make sure it covers the area the coaches have. So we have been contacting.
Getting
our-
close.
Yes, it's getting close.
Wasn't, yeah. Okay. There's no other additions. We'll move on to the board work calendar. Anything anyone has questions or thoughts on? I feel like we're moving at a good clip right now.
My only, for the work sessions to go through policy, do we need to go ahead and carve those out for you? Do you have ideas when you want?
Yeah, I think the
What
next
work-
one is coming up in November.
November 3rd.
Yep.
Okay.
Mr. Gohan and I will look at the next section of policy on Monday and start to get it ready.
You're so lucky. Okay. Anything else? I know that we have quite a few events coming up. If you haven't RSVP'd to Rachel, I think now could be a great time I know we all get busy at this time of year. So I know we have our Thursday, just this Thursday, we have the State of the District Breakfast. We have our KASB conference coming up. We have our Christmas thing, holiday, whatever we're calling it, thing. What other things do you need RSVPs for, ma'am?
We have the Spring Hill Chamber Dinner coming up and the Olathe
State of
State
the
of the
City.
City. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so just keep that in your minds. Okay. Okay. Any other thoughts on the calendar? Okay. All right, moving on to our superintendent's report. Dr. Luttrell?
Yes, just a couple items. We have our official enrollment count. We finally uploaded, which is what we will get our funding for. Just comparisons and numbers. We had our pre-K number was 145. Now, again, those are not all funded, with the full FTE as a regular, but still we're serving 145 kids, which was an increase of about 14 students compared to last year. Then when you really look at our K-12 brick and mortar students, we were at 4,029, and that was an increase of 61 compared, to our 24-25 school year. And our virtual actually was 1,881, which is an actual increase on that end of serving 136 additional students compared to last year. For the brick and mortar, when you compare our brick and mortar number estimate that RSP provided, that number was about 4221, but actually we came in a little under that at 4174, and most all of that difference could be attributed to the difference in our kindergarten enrollment, because that number had been estimated at 334 and it came in at 287, which was about 14% off of where it had been targeted. But everything else kind of fell somewhat into place. It's just going to be important that kindergarten, not this particular class, but the incoming kindergarten grades the next few years is going to really need to be watched to see if this was an anomaly at one time, because you're talking over 40 students there. And if that trend continues in our incoming classes the next 3-4 years, suddenly we're going to have, as we said, we're going to get because most of our increases come from graduating a large senior class. A small senior class and bringing in a larger kindergarten class. And if you start evening that out or falling behind, that's going to, definitely be a cause of that we got to watch closely. So again, right now, overall we were up compared to when I talked to some colleagues around the region. Most everyone, other district I've talked to was down considerably to some degree, or very flat. So again, but we'll still take the fact that we are up, that we need to continue watching that. The focus on school safety conversation that we had last Tuesday evening went really well, and I believe it was well worth the time that we spent on it. Dr. Robinson and Mr. Williams did a very good job providing insight to those in attendance on the many layers that we already have in place. And then we allowed those in attendance an opportunity to give us insights on what they felt might best be some strategies that would enhance and complement our existing measures. Our next steps after the meeting last week, we've taken many of the items that were tossed about and we're gathering some cost data on those. And it is our goal that we can work in a 3 to 5 year ongoing plan that we feel might have some strategies in it based on those conversations last week that we feel we might be able to implement over a period of time that would continue strengthening our toolbox of strategies. But again, we would bring that to you all and let you all view that as well as offer some insight into it. But again, there was really no option that was presented that would be considered extreme. They were all very much, very doable. It's just a matter of, again, prioritizing and determining where we can get the best return on our investment. And another thing that came out of this meeting was, because we had a really strong presence of law enforcement from the city of Spring Hill, as well as Johnson County as a whole, as well as our school resource officers. But the parents in attendance, and even they all, even though many of them had ideas on ways to strengthen, they were also very appreciative of the many layers that we do have in place. They know that we are attempting, to the best that we can, continuing to enhance and keep our campuses safe. So again, I really, really was pleased with the way that went. Parent-teacher conferences are this week, part of fall break. They'll start Wednesday afternoon and then throughout the day on Thursday. Specifics on the conferences at each school should have been sent out by each school principal. And if you haven't gotten anything, you might want to check your school's website or contact your school's office, because parent-teacher conferences are an important time to get that feedback and ask questions so that your child or children can continue to have success of be in the best position to maximize their potential. Because of the parent-teacher conferences this week, school will not be in session Thursday or Friday this week, but we will resume a regular class schedule next Monday, October 20th. So again, hard to believe we're in mid to late October when we come back next week. And then finally, our annual State of the District breakfast that we do every year will be held this Thursday, the October 16th at Forest Spring Middle School. This is a time when we celebrate the prior year accomplishments, many of the academic accolades that you saw. And we also will have many of our student talents, that on display. The doors will open at 7:15 a.m. with the program starting around 8 a.m. All proceeds from this event this morning will benefit the Springdale Education Foundation, which in turn puts that money back into supporting, our classrooms and our students and staff. The cost for the ticket is $50 a person. I'm not sure, though, if there are still tickets available. I know that last count, when we did late last week, early today, we did some checking with the foundation to see what our head count was at. And we were in the way close to 175, which is one of the higher numbers that we've had. So I'm not sure if how many tickets are still available, but definitely, if you're interested, feel free to give us, contact the foundation. There's a website, the Education Foundation website also has that information. So as I said, that's the State of the District breakfast. And then on a different note altogether, I wanted to have one last item. And I just wanted to kind of put out there for everybody. The board and I have already had discussions on this, but I just wanted to let everybody know that after giving a lot of reflection, a lot of thought the last few months, I wanted to share that my time as superintendent will come to a close at the end of my current contractual obligation when it concludes, which is not until, don't everybody cry yet, but it will not be until June 30th of 2027. But I share that now because a superintendent search done the right way can take a long time. It can take up to a year. And then not only that, you then have transition time after that. So I think that by allowing the board that information this early will allow for the board and community to have plenty of time to plan the next chapter of leadership for USD 230. But in the meantime, do know, and hopefully I've proven through the years that I will remain fully committed to my responsibilities, because there remains a lot of work that has to be completed, and I'll continue to give this role the full attention required. I want to say that sincerely thank the Board of Education for the positive partnerships that we've shared. We haven't always agreed. I think we ought to admit that, but together, the one thing we have done is we've stayed grounded in our commitment to strive for excellence every day. And that shared vision has, as you've seen evidence tonight, has continued to move Spring Hill schools forward. Serving here has been a highlight, and we've celebrated many of our targeted goals. This past year, the 3 goals that we set: increased student performance. You saw that tonight. We met it. We worked on our staff retention, because in a very strong county, we've increased our staff retention. And then we have also, of course, managed our growth with the bond passage at a 64% success rate last spring, which again puts us in a good position to continue making sure that we're going to have places for our students to go to. But more than milestone, it's been about the people. There's a quote that I'm always reminded of that says, "The true meaning of life is to plant trees, knowing that you're probably never going to enjoy the shade that is going to blossom in the years ahead." And to me, that captures the heart of what we do. We build, we nurture, and we lead so that others that come along after us can experience the success from our efforts. And so again, I want to thank the board for allowing me that. Like I said, I'm still going to be around through my contractual obligations in 2027. But again, it's been a great ride, but I really think that this opportunity will give you all the ample time that's needed. So that's my superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Luttrell. You really have been a tremendous leader these last few years with all that you've done, all of our testing, the passing of a bond. It's been wonderful. And
It's been a pleasure.
It's
been a group effort, team effort.
And it's very thoughtful for you to allow us in our district time to find the perfect fit for your successor. So thank you. I think we should take a 5-minute recess.
Well, we go.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We can do that. How about,
No. Ward, does anyone else have anything to say?
well, I was going to say,
Let's do that first. Does anyone else have anything to say?
Well, Dr. Luttrell, this is hardly goodbye. And we've got a lot of work to do in the next 2 years. And so your foot remains firmly placed on the gas pedal, in my opinion. You and I first got together well before I ran for this seat on the board, and I've enjoyed the friendship that developed out of those working lunches and your mentorship and our working relationship immensely, and I look forward to that relationship to continue. I'll echo what Nicole said. Together, we've achieved some great progress, and we've established a leadership team that I know I can speak for the entire board. We're proud of, and is very well positioned for the future. And I just want to add that your passion and all of your efforts up to this point have been greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
and I just have to follow along on that theme, Doug. When we talk about passion, and having passion is great, but seeing it reflected, I've been very fortunate to go into a number of schools with Dr. Luttrell, and students' passion for Dr. Luttrell and the enthusiasm is reflected back in students. And I so sincerely appreciate seeing that, and thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Luttrell. We do need a few more items.
Well, why don't I go ahead and make a motion that the board go into executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel matters of non-elected personnel to protect the privacy interest of unidentifiable individuals. Under coma, those to be in session include the Board of Education members. Full stop, right? Just us.
No, that's okay.
The Board of Education members and others as requested. Those to be, the executive session is to begin at 8:45, with the open meeting resuming at 9:15 at this place.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Rachel, take the vote.
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Horn?
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood?
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes.
Mrs. Milius?
Yes.
Mr. Hole?
Yes.
Approved.
Okay. We are back in session.
Okay, Madam President, sorry, I'm not live. Madam President, I'm gonna make a motion to add an additional action item to the agenda.
Okay.
And that action item is an RFP for superintendent search services.
So it'd be 9.04.
Is it 9.04 or do we have to add it after?
It has to be after executive.
Oh, it's at, oh, okay, sorry. You want to do that?
1401.
So I'll repeat it for you. Okay. So Rachel, I'm going to make a motion to add an action item. Actually, it'd probably be 15, wouldn't it? Or no, 14, an action item for a request for proposal for superintendent search services.
All right.
Second.
Oh, jinx. There's a motion and a second.
Nobody was doing it.
Any discussion of adding an agenda item? Okay, Rachel, please take the vote.
Mrs. Horn?
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood?
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes.
Mrs. Milius?
Yes.
Mr. Hull?
Yes.
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Approved.
Okay, awesome. I've handed out a draft RFP for a superintendent search firm. Rachel, I will get you a copy of it. There's a few highlighted spots. Greg has reviewed this after I wrote it. There's a few items. Everything in purple, it was unsure. Page 3, number 17. I've confirmed the second paragraph, second sentence will be removed, and we're going to add the pay terms are net 30. On page 4, I was trying to confirm with Chris Olson that we have been named fastest growing school district in Kansas. By who? I couldn't find that. So if anyone has that citation, could you send it on over?
Sounds like Nicole Mealy's just said that. You can just put that on the back end, right?
That would be awesome.
By everybody.
Let's see. Page 6, we can cross out that whole purple section. We do not need that. I believe the dates are in line with what could go with our
Timeline.
Our timeline. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
In our meeting timeline.
On that page, on page 6.
On page 6, yeah, there's timelines. Page 6, top. You see that?
Yours are a little kind of.
Yeah,
Correct.
the first year is 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when we're starting it.
Go us.
Time machine.
Well, yeah.
I think I'm gonna take that entire line off. I apologize, guys. I don't know what proposer questions do. So
They would, any clarification, they could submit clarifications to this.
Change.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need that.
we do need it.
Change it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2025.
But our interviews start October 27th, essentially. Is that what it says?
Well, but that can't hit our contract.
No,
No.
no. I think I meant to make that purple because I didn't know how we wanted to utilize that, but I don't know that we need it.
In terms of timing, I think that phase 2 finalist interviews for RFP, I honestly should be November.
Yeah, that
We got to give.
whole.
So maybe those should be flip-flop. The proposer questions should be the October 27th date, and then the phase 2 finalist interview should be the November 22nd date.
I think
makes
that
more
sounds
sense.
more, yeah.
Okay, so
think we
the
just need to
timeline that
flip-flop.
we originally created is way off here, because this is just for interviewing the search firm,
Correct.
not the actual
Right.
candidate.
Yeah,
Correct.
they should have 2 weeks to ask us questions.
Yeah.
Their stuff should be due 2 weeks after they get to ask us questions.
Okay. Okay,
So just
how
swap
do you
those.
feel about? So help me with the timeline. Let's pull up our
So
calendar then.
I'll let the smarter end of the room handle this one. I'm just gonna sit over
I
here.
think
just want it out the
I'm
door.
taking my shoes off so I can count.
RFP opens on the 14th is fine, and then the proposer questions are October 27th. Does that give them enough time? 2 weeks?
Yeah, I would say that should, just to keep it easy, it would be 14th to 28th
Or 28th, okay,
for proposer.
yeah.
And then that would make it the 11th.
The 11th for the phase 2 finalist interviews, November
That's what I
11th,
think.
yeah.
Nope. November 11th is a Tuesday.
Yeah.
We're working into.
Well, that's just when they're due back to us, and then we act.
I think that's. Have those back on.
Or just for the search firm.
Yeah.
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 November 11th is Veterans Day. I don't know if that makes a difference, but. So
I was working from our original timeline, the one in pink and purple. And how he said there was space in there, almost too much space. So that's but now we're really pushing it out.
I don't know that.
Well, then just make it a week. They should get a couple weeks to ask us questions.
Yeah.
That's really typical.
Yeah, I'm not, when they send us questions, who answers though? Do we answer here? How do we answer those?
Those go to Greg.
And then he comes to us during a meeting, or do we just answer them?
Well,
Rachel answers them.
he could email us and
Yeah.
we could individually respond.
That's what I'm
If there's a need for.
Yeah,
Right.
well, that's my point. I'm not sure that we have to line the questions up with necessarily a meeting.
right,
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
we do
Yeah.
know.
So,
Greg will engage who he needs to engage when.
so October 27th. So if we leave it open for 2 weeks, essentially the finalist interviews could be October 27th through a week. And proposer questions could be due by October 25th or 4th.
So you're wanting to have it open, we'll accept questions for a week? Is that what you're saying?
10 days. I don't know. I'm just trying to line it up with the original timeline we had.
What date? I
Yeah.
hear you, but I hear you. So you're wanting to interview by October 27th,
Which is 2 weeks away.
which is 2 weeks away.
My only worry is that if we push out when we interview search firms, the time that we really need to interview people and do the search, the actual search, and the prep to do that, to do community engagement, and identify qualities and qualifications that we're not going to have enough time. Search firm, less important than finding the candidate.
Doug, can I see your copy?
But
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. I'm just trying to figure.
Eric, could you answer a question for us? When people in education are looking for jobs, what is their time frame when they're looking? They're not starting to look in like January, February. They're looking prior to that, or when is their search starting?
Yeah, I'd definitely say a candidate will definitely look a few months out. And what I mean by that, closer to that half year mark. So if a candidate is looking for a position for, let's say, start of the 2026, 2027 school year, that candidate probably will be starting to look pretty early around, I would say, like the November, December timeframe. Yes. So they can have enough time in order to have conversations with their current school district to talk about that transition and what that looks like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You didn't know we were going to call you at 9:30, did you?
Thanks for hanging around. Okay.
So
We can stick with it, and if we don't get enough responses, we can reissue.
I'm happy to push it out.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know that it necessarily has to follow our.
Well, and Greg might have.
Greg reviewed it and he said the timeline was good.
Okay.
Okay.
But
then,
no,
just,
how about this?
he's done this.
Well, but it also said it's also said 2024. So
Fair point. Fair point.
November before October.
yeah.
Why don't I talk to him again? Why don't I clean this up from the highlights? Talk to him again.
Why don't we just say it's approved with it being no later than November 22nd?
Okay.
Date subject to discretion of the president, no later than
council.
And council,
Yeah.
No later than November 22nd.
Of 2025.
Of 2020.
Just
Good
want to make
point.
sure we get, hey, at least I caught that. Nobody else even said anything. I was paying attention.
Thank goodness you're here, Keith.
See, here for,
Do it.
You earned your pay tonight.
I got my pen's worth of work out of me. So here we go.
Okay, anything else on this one?
Yeah, but let's look at all the purple areas. Page 7, number 2, he said that was needed. Or he suggested keeping it. I didn't know why we needed 1 original and 12 copies and a CD or USB thumb drive, but he thought was necessary.
Because lawyers are archaic is why. Although the due date. So we're doing, okay, yeah.
It aligns. I had questions about his address, and I will include some sort of RFP number in all of the spaces that say it.
Yeah, it's 25011.
Is that what you would like it to be, sir?
Well, that's what it is on the next page.
I've taken it out everywhere else except for there.
Okay.
Taken it out everywhere else but there. I kept that one in purposefully.
I was Googling who named us the fastest growing city. It was KC Today. There was an article, but is that a good?
I would suggest we just change it to, we are widely recognized as the fastest growing
I agree. 'Cause
district
there's a
in the
lot-
state of Kansas.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because it's widely recognized.
Absolutely.
All of us sitting here recognize it. How can it get much wider?
Wide.
You could put quotes around it and say John Chitwood behind it.
JC. Got it. Okay, anything else?
No.
Okay.
You got all that in one you got?
Mhm.
Great, then I'm going to move to approve the RFP that is in President Nicole Milius's hand as action item, whatever it is, 14.01.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second to approve the RFP for superintendent search firm. Any?
Yeah.
Motion and a second. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Any further discussion? Rachel, please take the vote.
Mr. Tillwood,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell? Yes. Mr. Ewing?
Yes.
Mrs. Milius?
Yes.
Mr. Hull?
Yes.
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Horn?
Yes.
Approved.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. And we are adjourned.